Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this part 5 of Vaesen. I slipped into my Christopher Walken voice there for a second. Part 4 of 5 of Vaesen. Isa. It's a wonderful game that we're playing here, my friends. All right, enough Christopher Walken. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for checking this out. We're very glad to have you here. We left on a bit of a cliffhanger last week, so we're sort of chomping at the bit to dive back into it. But before we do that, let me introduce you here to my friends who are playing this game with me, and who are the ones who are suffering right now because of this cliffhanger. Hey, everybody, how you doing?
Good. Excited.
Hello.
Everyone doing all right?
Yeah.
I've been chomping at the bit all week.
Yes, indeed.
Chomping at the bit. So glad to have you back. So glad to be playing this again. We have tonight and one more to go after this. So things are starting to heat up in the good old north. Perhaps they will heat up enough to melt all this ice that has surrounded you. But we'll get into that in a minute. First of all, I'd like to introduce you all. So if you want, I'll go around. If you want to tell us who you are, a little bit about yourself, where people can find you, and tell us about your character and their current state of mind, what's going on, what's going through their minds right now as we enter tonight. And we will begin with Stephanie, who once again has changed her entire decor behind her.
It's keeping you on your toes.
That's right.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. You can find me at S Brown Writes on Twitter, or under the handle Lavenza on the Discord server for Guild Superior, or Live from the Apocalypse, where I've done a few other mini games over there. Tonight I will be playing Vendla Ekstrom. She is the occultist in training. She is not doing so hot. She survived an explosion, so she's going into this already injured, a little stressed, and that's just gonna keep skyrocketing. So we're gonna see how she handles that.
I'm sure she'll come out of it with flying colors, a little bit of silver in the leg there, you know?
Yeah.
As long as
Silver
they're
for
not
luck.
shooting silver at you. Exactly. Thank you so much for being here. I enjoy your background there. It's very, as I think Dave wrote in chat, very nomadic. It's very nice.
Oh.
Next up, we have Javante. Javante himself. What's up?
Hi, everybody. Yeah, for once, I'm so much less busy than I initially was. So I've been able
What
to
happened?
relax. I've had the time to just be stuck in the perpetual state of wanting to play this again. I'll be playing Killian, who is having probably the most freakouts that he has had in his 13 years of being alive in quick succession.
You know, so young yet so experienced.
That's it.
That's
Nice.
it.
School of Hard Knocks.
Yep.
Glad you're managing to get a little bit of rest and some downtime. It's super important to get that done. It's nice to have a bunch of projects going on, but it's good to. I mean, you're young still; you can handle it. But when you get to be my age, like those days off, they become very important.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Kay, who is wearing a Baphomet T-shirt. So you know,
Baphocat t-shirt.
Baphocat, nice.
Yeah, I thought it would fit in with the Vaesen theme a little
Absolutely.
bit. It's, you know, adjacent.
Nice, adjacent, Vaesen adjacent.
Yeah. So my name is Kay, or King Cosmos. That's where you can find me on most socials. I'll get into other things, I guess, at the end. I'm going to be playing Marguerite Hansen. She's a crotchety lady with a dark contract of sorts. She's been able to like get by mostly unaffected in our adventure so far, but that's so far. Yeah.
So far, I like that you have your entire following of cats there behind you, just your own fandom there. That's nice.
Yeah, crazy cat person. My real life cat is decided to not hang out with me, so maybe she'll be back later. But
we're all gonna start freaking out if those heads start to move behind you. I'll let you know if that happens.
Okay, thank you.
And last but certainly not least, the man they call Kevin in most states.
in all states, I would hope, but that's true. Hello. Hi, I'm Kevin, and I can be found online at KevRan Games, and I am returning as our conflicted writer, Elias Johansson, who has some bit of some fugue state spells where he drifts out, and the spirits of the voices from beyond tell him of prophetic things. So he is here, luckily, with his trusted companion, Reginald, our Schnauzer. And we're gonna dark Scooby Doo this up. So glad to be back, everybody. I love it. I love it.
I
So
like
thank you for
the
having me back.
hour. I wasn't expecting that. Our Schnauzer.
Yeah.
Hey, we are a team. We are connected. A quartet, one might say.
The Schnauzer. The Schnauzer, the star of the show, the real star of the show.
Oh,
Thank
for
you so
sure.
much.
I wanted to just play him, but Bleak was like, no, you got to be an actual.
You know, it's a bit made communication a little hard, and you'd have to be in there with like your old puppy cosplay, and it would just, it wouldn't be the same game. But maybe next one. Maybe we should do that, like an all pet Vaesen game. That
would be cool. Let's do it. See, everybody lit up. Did you see that?
Yeah, I know. I'd totally do that. We'll do that. All right. Thank you so much, Kevin, and everybody else for being here. I'll do a little recap of where we're at in a second. Before, I'd like to do a few shout outs, people without whom this would not be happening. We'll start with me, although you could probably do this without me. I am the Bleakseason. You can find me at the Bleakseason on the Twitters. I'm hanging out here at Screen Actors Guild, SAG Screen Actors Guild, Superior Adventurers Guild. Playing some games, running some games. I'd like to give a shout out to the producer of this particular series, DM Dave. You can find also doing a bunch of stuff here. We'll get into all of that at the end of the show. But Dave's super busy here. Also got a bunch of good games running, and we'll be running the game that will take place in the slot on Sundays after this game is over next week. So, which will be a pretty spooky game too. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. I'd like to give a shout out to Tabletop Audio, where we get all our fine music. These sounds you're hearing right now come from Tabletop Audio. Their website's full of good stuff. You can either check in with their Patreon, or they get a lot of free stuff available. So if you need some sounds for your game, we absolutely love everything that they've produced. I'll be using a map tonight. Most of the maps we use here I make on Incarnate, but tonight I'll be using one from Animated Dungeon Maps. The Patreon is fantastic. Some of the best maps I've ever seen. I've not been using him just by pure happenstance because I've been having fun making them, but as you'll see tonight, excellent work. So I highly recommend them. What else? Free League, of course, for making this game. Free League Publishing, who make Vaesen and chock full of other games that are super awesome. There's people wanting to check out new games and see different ways of doing things, and definitely Free League is a way to go. They have a lot of interesting stuff, including Vaesen right here, right now. And finally, big huge shout out to the Guild Superior, all the people in our Discord, people in our games, the game masters, the producers, Ashley, Miko, and Andy, and everybody else who plays in these games. If you're interested, come and hang out with us in our Discord. We have a lot of memes going on, and we have tons of games going on. So, there's always room for more people around the table. If you're interested, check out our Discord, our Twitter. Everything's popping up right now in the chat. And come and hang out with us. So, all these people, we were not here originally. We were not born here, and we all sort of came together here. Here we are having a good old time. So, without further ado, then, let's do a very brief recap and then jump right back into this, because we did have that killer cliffhanger last time. So the game of Vaesen is a game of supernatural horror that takes place in mythic Scandinavia of the 1800s. The player characters are investigators who, in this particular instance, were on a boat which ended up getting frozen in the middle of the ocean, and then murders started happening. They managed to find out that the person doing the murders, or the creature doing the murders, was this werewolf. And now they have gone off the boat across the ice to a nearby island, one in the hopes of tracking down the werewolf, but two also in the hopes of getting some help, because the boat was damaged in the explosion that Mandela was mentioning earlier. And if the ice thaws, the boat will likely sink. And so they've gone off to try and get some help. They found a little fishing town Well, that it used to be a little fishing village, and it's kind of become this industrial fishing center. And the entire place was frozen over, and all the people in the town had died in some sort of flash freeze. And in investigating the town, the players discovered that there had been three women from the woods nearby who had been having some form of disagreement with the industrial fishers here. They're doing whaling, they're doing all sorts of bad stuff, and had promised them that terrible things would happen if they didn't stop. And well, everything's frozen over now, so I guess we'll find out exactly how that ties in together. But as they were exiting the office after having ransacked it for goods and information, the players found themselves under fire from a sniper hiding somewhere in the town. Number one, who was one of the sailors from the boat who had been escorting them, took a shot in the head and fell down as you were exiting the building. And you find yourselves now, and I was talking about the animated dungeon maps earlier, and this is just such a map from animated dungeon maps. So you all are coming out of, I will place you on top here. All right. Oh, the map's not sized. I keep doing this. I keep not sizing the maps properly. Oh yeah, it's not good. Let's do that. Let's do that. 4. That should be good. All right. Yeah, much better. All right. So I'm going to put you on top here, just because you're in that building, okay? But you would be coming out, and you have the doctor with you, and number one, who's just been, unfortunately, shot. So you would be coming out, if you're checking the map, down here at the bottom here, all right? The shot that took number one appears to have come from maybe up here in the tower up here. So as you are now sort of pinned, hiding just inside the door there, and realizing there's no other exit, as this office is kind of squeezed in between two warehouses, and the only way out is through that front door. You are sort of hiding. As long as you're kind of hiding inside, you really have to step outside to be in view of whoever's taking shots at you. So you're all sort of carting in. The doctor is hauled in. Number one, who doesn't, you're not sure if he's dead or not, but there's a lot of blood, and he was obviously hit in the head. So the doctor sort of, with your help, sort of pulled him in. And then another shot comes in, sort of a warning shot that comes in and shatters the side of the door. But there you are. We pre-drew initiative earlier, before we began, and the first person, and now you people have all moved on the screen, so this is no longer good. All right. The first person to get an action right now would be Marguerite. So Marguerite, it's basically morning at this point. You walked for most of the night across the ice, and then you spent a few hours sort of searching the cabin and the offices and everything. So it's morning. The sun is kind of coming up slowly on the horizon. It's very pale light, and it's super cold again, right? It's freezing out here. What would you like to do?
Oh, geez. Well, I believe that I am still frightened from. I had pushed a roll, and I became frightened. So I am not feeling confident enough to try and dodge bullets or anything. Is there a way that I can postpone my action until somebody else is? Can I?
Yeah, absolutely. You can just choose to hold your action. Yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
That will take us to the enemy outside, who doesn't do anything because he doesn't see anything right now, and then it will be Vendela.
Vendela is gonna shut the door so he can't get any more shots and see us.
Not a bad idea.
And then she is going to get between Killian and the door and just push him behind her, just as a preemptive protective measure in case anything else is happening. And if she's able to give Marguerite her cane, she would, but if I don't have anything left to do on my turn, she's just kind of like shocked by what has happened, and she's not used to guns flying around her, so I think she's just kind of not sure what to do except protect the child and make sure Marguerite can move.
Okay, so look, how about we do this then? How about we get out of the initiative,
Okay.
and I'll give you just some time to sort of talk and figure out what you want to do. Eventually, the sniper will probably kind of get tired and come down, but for now, he's content with being up there. So you have a little bit of time here if you want to have a discussion about the best way to approach this.
So Elias is, like you said, is going to help Ackerman, the doctor, pull Hans, number one, out of the way, get him so he's kind of protected. Elias is going to go. There's a window in here, correct?
Yeah, there are windows to the front. Yeah.
Right. Elias is going to go up to the window, put his back against the wall, and he's going to look around to see if he sees who this sniper was, and just kind of do a quick glance, not stick his head out or anything, but just kind of peek around the corner, and then turn back to the others and say, I think things are taking a drastic turn. Ackerman, can you help him?
I'm doing what I can. He's losing a lot of blood, but it doesn't seem to have done too much damage. And you can see he's like trying to bandage him and all that. And number one's moving a little bit like he got probably just grazed or something like that, but it doesn't look like his head exploded or anything like that. So it's like, I'm doing what I can here. Would you do me, since you looked outside and took a quick look, would you do me a vigilance check, please?
Yeah, I would love to. Vigilance is 1, my logic is 4, so that's a 5. I'm just making sure I don't have any, I think, extra that goes to that. No. That is 1 success.
All right. You're going to need more than that to spot something. Do you want to push it, or do you not want to risk it?
I'll push it. Why not? I've been okay so far. So I will take the angry mental condition to push that. So I'm going to re-roll B4 here. Maybe. I'm dropping stuff. That is 1 more, so that's 2.
All right. So you do notice that in the tower up above, up there, the tower itself appears to be, it's not like a water tower or anything like that. It looks like an observation tower. So there are windows sort of all around it. And one, you can tell that they probably have a commanding view of everything around. Sure. And you can just see sort of peeking out above one of the windows. You'll see like the barrel of a rifle, and then someone looks like they got maybe like a cloak or something, or like some sort of hood over their head, and they're peering down. And because you have Sixth Sense also, and you've made the test, I will tell you that you get the feeling that there's something supernatural about the shooter.
Ah, interesting. I'm going to narrow my eyes at this revelation, and I will say to the others, to kind of end my part of the narrative here, they're not entirely human, I would guess.
What's Killian doing in all this?
Killian, having been moved to be relatively hidden, is going to, for the moment, just hide, but he's going to see if he can find a way to remain hidden, but try to traverse around to see if he can get to where he heard the shot come from without being noticed.
So yeah, go ahead and give me a. We'll do the same thing that Kevin just did. I'll ask you for a vigilance roll.
Okay. Dice. Yeah. 1 success.
All right. So with 1 success, you do remember that in one of the back rooms of the office, there was a roof access, and you're thinking that if you were to go out there and sort of land up on the roof, you remember the way the roof is made down here, that you could possibly remain hidden long enough to kind of get around, and then perhaps using stealth, sort of make your way around here. That it would be feasible.
All right, I'll be right back, guys. And he's going to start moving that way.
Just stay away from windows and stay low.
Right, you
Just
got it.
gonna let him go?
You're not alone, Killian. And I will try to move to follow him.
Okay. Does Reginald go along also?
I'll look to Reginald, and I will say, I'll just tell him to stay. I'll say, Spruggen, so that he will stay there and guard the others as Killian and I walk out.
All right. The doctor, who we know has served in the military, so has a little bit of knowledge about this, will look at Marguerite and Vendela, and we'll look at Marguerite, who looks like she's shaking and whatnot. He'll come over to Marguerite to kind of talk to you, but he'll look at Vendela and he'll say, if they're going to try to get around and surprise that fucker up there, you might want to try to keep his attention on us. So, see, you have a bow and arrow there. If you just kind of maybe try to fling a couple arrows at him, even if you don't hit anything, at least get him to keep his head down. Might give the others a bit of a chance.
I can do that. Okay.
All right. So he'll come to you, Marguerite, the doctor, and he'll say, all right. You don't have to keep acting like you're all afraid and scared of what's going on. I read you loud and clear. I brought the gin. And he'll reach out and take his little thing.
Amazing.
That was nice playing for the others, but I understand. You and I understand that you're not this distraught. He hands you the bottle of gin. It's like, I think if you just have a sip of this, I think you'll be all right. You'll steady your nerves a little bit. And he's going to use manipulation to try and talk you out of your
Oh, that's so nice.
your condition. And I got at least one success. And if I get this one out from under my, I got 2 successes. All right. So you take yourself a shot of fortifying gin, and as he talks you through it, you find that it's slowly the fear starts to dissipate and sort of leave you. And he's like the entire British Empire has run roughshod over the world. Did thanks to this drink here, you can certainly run roughshod over whatever idiots out there with a pea shooter.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, as long as it's doctor's orders, thank you, Mr. Dr. Ackerman.
No problem.
She's ready to start shooting and yelling at this prick. So let's get going.
All right. For Reginald and Killian, I will ask both of you to make stealth rolls now, because of Vendela and Marguerite's actions, trying to disturb her. I will say that you have an advantage, so you can roll with 2 extra dice
Okay.
for your stealth checks.
I'm sorry, you meant Elias or you meant Reginald?
I meant Elias. Sorry.
Okay. just making sure.
Well, Elias, Reginald are like,
They are simpatico, it's true.
they are half and a half.
Yeah, oh yeah. Stealth, precision based. Oh, I'm not very good at this.
And Vendela, if
Should
you're
be
going to take a
extra.
shot, you might as well try to hit.
Yep.
It's going to be very difficult. So
Yeah.
are you going to try to get a good shot, or are you going to try to not get shot primarily?
My question was there a window that she could try to... I know it's going to be hard to try to get it done without noticing, but is there a way, because she figures right now their attention's going to be on the door primarily. Is there a way to shoot from a window if she
Yeah, you could certainly find a window that you could
Okay.
shoot out of, because it's so elevated. It's really difficult to get it. So my
Yeah.
question basically is, do you take time to try and aim a little bit, or do you just kind of blindly fire just to sort of get it out there and really not get shot?
I think she's going to go with the latter because she
Okay.
knows the angle is an automatic disadvantage, and she's not a skilled combatant, so she's going to
Okay.
just focus
So
on
you're gonna
distraction.
roll. You're gonna roll with all your dice, but I'm going to
Mhm.
require more success for you to actually, on off chance, kind of hit him. But in exchange, he's not going to really get a shot at you either.
Cool.
Okay, so you can go ahead and make that roll. How do we do on stealth?
Elias, what was yours?
My stealth, I would need to push it to succeed because I rolled 3 1s and 2 2s.
Yee.
I'm sorry, 3 1s and 3 2s. Excuse me.
You
So-
do have.
five
You do each have an
sixes.
advantage, right? That you can use. So if you wanted to,
Oh, from the chat or whatever.
just every game you get at least one advantage.
Okay.
Oh, all right. So you
5 sixes.
you don't even have to. You
Wow,
don't need to
okay.
because he's got so many success. One of the things he can do with his extra successes is he can help and give some to friendlies
You
Oh,
can
perfect.
take,
Right,
You can
so-
take 2 of those.
Yeah, you like grab me and pull me out of the way of something I'm about to just run right into because I'm
Yeah,
too busy
as you're
looking up.
walking, yeah. He's like, "Don't
Would
step
you
on that. All
would
right,
you
watch out
stay-
for this.
Would you
Don't."
stay freaking low, you big galumph? Come on.
And I crouch down further. I've got the rifle in hand, and I'm just looking. I'm keeping an eye on the tower, but I'm looking to him and just nodding. I follow his lead on this. He clearly
All
knows
right.
what the kid's doing.
So Vendela,
I got 2 successes.
2 success. That's not too bad. So I added in my head that you needed 3 to be able to
I figured.
sort of accidentally hit him, but your shot's pretty good in that it flies up, and he kind of like peers over, and it just as it comes by, and it like hits the frame of the window, just sort of blows that, so kind of he ducks down and doesn't get to take a shot back at you, and that's enough to keep his head low, so that your 2 friends are able to kind of sneak up around to there. So the 2 of you go up over the roof that's there, and it's very slippery because of all the ice and all that. So you have to be super careful. But you kind of slide down the other side. You find yourself in a little alley, and by following that alley and jumping over a fence, you manage to run just to the side of there. And while you're on the side here where you are, while you're on the side of this raised platform, he can't see you because of the angle. So you're kind of crouched down there, kind of catching your breath as you're trying to move through this. You haven't heard another shot yet, so whatever Vendela has been doing has been keeping his head low. Is there anything Marguerite would like to do?
Yes, there are. I just don't know what is slow or fast. So I will take the butt of my revolver and break the window.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start yelling, calling him a bloated corpse of a rat, absolute buffoon. And if I can take a shot, I will, but mostly just saying like, what are you doing, you piece of garbage? And trying to.
Do you want to try to kind of get him to maybe make a mistake and stick his head out or something?
Sure,
All right.
I could do that.
So do a manipulation check. Do a manipulation plus empathy, just to see if you manage to sort of convince him to stick his head out.
Manipulation. Okay, so that's 6.
Oh, I thought that was 6 successes. I was like,
no,
Yeah.
6 days, 6 days. 1
Okay.
success. So better than my usual.
right.
1 success.
Mhm.
All right. You get 1 success. So you yell at him. It's not quite enough, like to get him to poke his head out. He's not, he's not crazy. But as you're sort of yelling, it'll sort of, kind of make him pay attention to where you're going, and you'll see his head pop off, and you can fire off a shot, and it'll just sort of hit the thing, and you can't aim. He's way too sort of hidden. But I will have both of you, Vendela and Marguerite, make a vigilance roll, if you will, please. Meanwhile, so the 2 of you are there. You have a couple options. You won't have to make a new stealth check. Your stealth check will cover the entire scene. Okay.
Cool.
You can either go around here, go up through these stairs, and then maybe try to climb up here and try to surprise him, or you can try to go around and go inside the tower and then come up the tower. Which way would you prefer to go?
My initial thought was to go inside the tower, that way we're not slipping around on the ice and snow. But, so I'll say perhaps we should go inside. It'd be a bit safer to traverse. It might take longer for us to get in there, though.
All right, we're taking longer to get in there. He's not shooting at us, so.
So you're going to go by the front and then try to get into the...
Mhm.
All right. So your stealth check is still good. So you make it all the way around here. By the time you get around, you hear another shot as he's taking another shot down into the doorway. He doesn't seem to have hit anything because you don't hear anybody scream out. When you come around the corner here, you'll get to a door, and there's a door at the bottom of this. And when you approach it, it's locked.
Okay. I'll look to Killian. I believe this is your cue, and I'm going to take the rifle, and I'm going to set it up while he's messing with the door, going to pick the lock or whatever. I'm going to set the rifle aside because I don't think it's going to be useful for me inside. So, and then probably as he's finishing with the door, I'll pull out the revolver that I've earned over the course of the story here.
Okay.
And just check that, make sure it's ready to go.
And what did you get on your vigilance checks, Vendela and Marguerite?
1 success.
Um, is this a fear check?
No, it's
Fear
not.
test? It's not.
No, it's not.
Okay, I got nothing.
Okay,
Oh,
no big
man.
deal. No big
Okay.
deal. It's fine. It's just to see, when something happens in the moment, just to see if you notice it before it happens. So I'm going to keep that in bank. You had 1 success. So you're continuing to kind of try to draw his attention, throwing up a couple arrows, firing some shots at him. The doctor is still cradling. Number 1, he's bandaged his head and sort of gotten him into a sitting up position. You can see number 1's kind of trying to stand up, but the doctor's like, God, sit down, young man, sit down. You're lucky you have permission to drink gin, and he's trying to get him to get a shot of gin. So you are confronted with a locked door.
Not for long, I'm not. I'm gonna
Oh yeah,
pull
we've
out-
seen him do this already.
Yeah,
I like the confidence.
I'm gonna pull out some of my lock-picking tools and see if I can get into the open up the door.
All right.
And Elias is just scanning the street, making sure there's nobody else. Maybe get a sneak up while he's readying his pistol.
Okay.
I'm assuming that this is a stealth.
Yes, you will roll your stealth and your precision.
Fantastic.
You have
actually
lockpicks.
does-
The
it
lockpicks
does.
give you a bonus, I do believe.
I have burglar, and I do have lockpicks.
All right, so your lockpicks give you. Do you know what they give you, or am I looking for nothing?
Over here. They give me. I don't.
Plus.
Oh
one
yeah,
bonus.
plus 1 bonus.
Yeah.
So I'm rolling so many dice. Roll.
Good.
Hey, devil's luck. Three sixes.
3 sexes.
Nice.
So such
Stop
a good roll. The
taking my
devil.
sixes.
The devil is definitely with you tonight, as not only do you do this effortlessly and in a record time, you make 0 noise and the door opens very slowly, revealing basically a set of winding stairs that go up a few floors up to the tower. And I will say that your stealth and lockpick roll was so fantastic that as the door is opening, you reach out quickly and stop it as you realize that there's a little trap at the bottom of it.
Now that's rather clever.
Sneaky.
All right, there's a trap like right here. Okay, and I saw how you had tried to do a stealth earlier. Remember, there's like a wire right here. Do not step on it.
I think that as Killian is saying that and he's taking his hand slowly off the door, Elias's sixth sense shows some sort of strange shadowy thing removing its hand off of Killian's and wisping back into the snow, just disappearing. And I just stand for a second, I take that in, and I look him in the face and I just nod grimly, and then I will step past him and I'll say, "Stay behind me." And I'll put the revolver in front of me. I'll start making my way up the stairs to confront this person.
All right, so your stealth rolls will be good enough to go up. All right, so what we'll do at this point is you're coming up on the platform. We'll do a new initiative since we've kind of gotten out of it, and just to see sort of where everybody's at and what everyone's doing. So I'll just draw another initiative quickly. We'll do this one a little bit theater of the mind. All right, so starting at the top will be Kevin at 8, Vendel at 1.
Nice.
Javante at 7. Wow. 6 for Marguerite. All right. So, you got in. So it's been a couple of minutes since you've seen these two, Vendela. You have no clue. The last you saw, they rounded the corner and were going towards the front of the building. All right. You fired off a few arrows. He's taken a couple of shots. It's clear that neither of you can really kind of do anything. Do you want to do something? Do you want to do something, or do you want to hold your action and sort of wait to see what happens?
Muted.
You're muted.
I think I'm gonna hold my action until I can see the person firing again. or just so I can see some part of them, because there is something she's going to try.
Okay. At 6 will be Marguerite. Marguerite, what do you do?
Oh boy. I am going to try and I want to convince him that I'm making a mistake and like leaving myself slightly too open. If I can catch the vibe that Vendela wants, is like trying to look for him, I'm gonna try to get him to try think like, oh, I can shoot at her and go for it.
All right, I will ask you to do a do an agility check.
Agility.
Yeah. So it's agility and physique, just to see if you can sort of move in a way that will seem like that, but without exposing yourself too much.
Okay. This is very exciting. I got 1 success with my 3 dice.
All right. So as you kind of step up, you do this weird thing where you pretend like you're stepping up, like, you know, not looking at the window, but then you drop right away rather than continuing stepping up. And as you do that, with your 1 success, as you do that and you drop, a shot rings out and the window has already exploded because you'd broken it earlier, but you feel the bullet just whizzing above your head. As you're going up the stairs, the two of you hear a shot firing and you hear him kind of racking the bolt for another. So right now, as you're going up, you know that his gun is unloaded. All right. And he's taken his action because he was holding his action. So that gives you an advantage. Vendel, do you do something or are you still holding?
As soon as she sees him, and if I can't do this, let me know, she's going to pull the wild branch from her pocket and she's going to attempt to cast Lame on the sniper.
All right, so your observation roll from earlier, I wanted to see if you would be able to see him when he moved when the guys came in and attacked him. So we'll use it now where you're paying enough attention that the second he pops up to take the shot and you realize he's not aiming at you, but he's aiming over where Marguerite is, that gives you an opening and you can go ahead and do your magic roll.
It is +2 with the wild branch.
Yeah, he's going to resist with his...
Which is a force to resist.
Yeah.
So that is 2 successes.
That's pretty good. All right. He's got 1 success. So you're lame. So describe to us, if someone were to be watching you, which we'll see in a minute if someone is, what would they see happening?
They would see she pulls this U branch carved with runes from the pocket of her skirt, and she just kind of like leans forward a little bit towards the window, and her profile suddenly seems just a bit sharper than normal, and possibly she looks a little paler as well, but not in like an unhealthy way, and sort of like she's kind of almost like there's snow on her skin, and she just kind of like points the branch towards the figure and says, "Don't you feel cold?"
Nice. While we're continuing on with this, I will give Marguerite a vigilance check to see if she notices this. But you're going to need at least 2 successes since you were kind of busy not getting shot and all that. But it's possible, since you're in the same room, it's possible as you're falling down that you would see it out of corner of your eye. So do a vigilance check. The two of you come up the stairs, all right? And the first to go will be Killian. And as you come up, you will see, just as you sort of crest the stairs, there's a figure in some sort of like long dark coat with a cowl and a gun. And as you come up, he's sort of kind of half up, aiming, and then suddenly like his legs kind of like go like this, and he kind of like drops down, and he looks like he's unable to sort of stand back up. What would you like to do? You could rush him is what I'm saying, or you could wait.
I would say rush. Try to rush.
All right. As you come up, you will see this being, and Dave will put the picture up here in a moment. in the stream. You come up and you see this person with this sort of cowl and this sort of winter jacket and a big cowl. There's a sword strapped to its back. It's got a rifle, and as it turns, as you come up the stairs and it turns towards you, you see a very pale, very emaciated face, almost kind of like a cadaver, almost very drawn. This person is very long and very kind of gangly and spindly, and they have sort of red eyes. And as you crest over the final steps and come charging towards him, he just sort of looks and sees you coming and seems totally surprised. And as he's trying to get up, like his legs don't seem to be working as he's trying to get up. And that is who you see. The sword that he's got on his back is broken, but it's kind of just attached in like a sort of makeshift sheath. What would you like to do then? You have surprised them, so you can attempt a backstab if you would like.
I have a question.
Yes.
How close is he to, like, is the opening that he's at like a window?
Yeah, so there's like windows that are maybe like 2 feet high by like 3 feet wide, sort of all around, and then like separators, and it's literally like a tower so that people could be up here with binoculars and sort of keep an eye out during storms and things of that nature.
I want to see if I can tackle him out the window.
Alrighty. Let us do it as you pick up and start charging. So do a close combat
And
roll.
I will use my backstabber, so I'll get stealth instead of.
Okay.
No.
And you will attempt to just sort of resist your...
Oh wow, my physique is a lot better than I thought it was. Two successes.
2 successes. All right. So with your 2 successes, he's got none. So you come sort of charging, and he like at the last second kind of sees you, and he tries to get up, but his legs are just not functioning. It's kind of like they're crippled. And you grab him and push him into the window. All right. Now, are you trying to push him through, or are you trying to carry him through and go with him? Now, you did see, I do want to be clear that you did see there's like a walkway around, so there's a chance he's not going to go all the way to the floor, but land on the walkway if you just sort of push him through. If you carry him through, both of you have a good chance of going over.
Killian is a brash teenager who, as a former teenager, thinks he's invincible. He's going to try to carry him through. Like,
all right, so Vendela, all you see is the window explodes, and then you see this figure in a long coat with a cowl, and then Killian wrapped up on it come rolling out, and you're attempting to sort of push him through. So I'm going to tell you to you had 2 successes.
Yeah.
All right, so one's enough to grab him and kind of push with him, and since you had no success, your extra success can then be used to push him through. So the 2 of you go out, hit the platform, and there's like a little handrail, but it's wood, and as soon as you hit the handrail, it shatters, and the 2 of you go falling off the tower, hit the side of the roof that's here, and after you hit that, boom, kind of bounce off and then slide, and then go all the way to the ground. So you're going to take some damage from this.
Maybe less damage than the sniper since he was on top.
Yeah.
I will let you do an agility roll. All right. And every success you get will be 1 damage less that you take.
All right. Let me see how I can manage that real quick. Let's try. Okay, what's my agility? Hold on. My heart's actually like beating. That's 7 dice for me.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. All right.
Better than a kick in the pants.
Okay. Roll. I'm gonna take a quick picture of this, but I will say that luck has been on my side this entire time.
Oh boy.
What?
Another 666?
As another 666.
Nice.
All right, so that's so good that I'm going to give you the option of not falling. like at the last second, as you both go over and break through the handrail. If you want, I'll let you decide. You can either kind of grab on and stay up there, or you can manage to fall without injuring yourself. Tell me, explain to me what happens.
As we're falling, and he starts trying to like push and roll me, I just want to like bring one arm in and just push him back down so that when we fall, I just land back on him and then just slowly roll off into the snow.
On top of it, no problem. So it was 3 damage. So your 3 success prevent all damage to you as you land on him. Boom! Right. You feel
his elbow right to the chest.
You can hear his rifle break underneath him. And now at 8, Elias, you're coming up the stairs just in time to see the two of them go out the window and then disappear. What would you like to do?
I say a single word, not in our native tongue, but actually in English that I learned in my time in America. I say, shit! And then I'm going to say back in our native Scandinavian tongue, I told you to stay behind me. And I start rushing down the stairs to get back outside where the rifle and everything is to try to go get to him in a safer way.
All right. Back up at 1, Vendela, what would you like to do? You saw him go down, and they've disappeared on the other side of the building in the center.
She is going to just scream, Killian, and just book it outside because she doesn't know what state he's in.
That's when the second sniper no, I'm kidding. All right.
So the werewolf emerges and kills us all.
That's right. If you spend your action, you can get into the next zone. So I'll say that you can sort of get there, and you get there, and you see Killian sort of sitting on this guy, and this guy is like still kind of trying to fight a little bit, as we'll see on his action. But you manage to get there. So you'd have a choice. You can either move within a zone, which means you stay here, but then can do another action, or you can use your action to traverse into the next zone and get to there. What would you like to do?
I want to reach where Killian is.
All right, so you come running, and you're like just a few feet away from them. And then at 6, Marguerite, you just saw Vendela. You haven't seen any of that. You just heard Vendela scream, Killian, and then go running out. What would you like to do?
I think that if I haven't seen Elias in a while, and we know what Killian's status is, sort of. I'm gonna tell Reginald to like go after Vendela, and then I'm going to meet Elias or try to like just run up to the tower.
Okay, so up or down? Quick.
Up.
All right, so you're gonna run up this way rather than down, which would have been down this way.
Oh,
all right.
Okay.
So you're going to run there, and you're going to see, as you kind of come running around the corner, you're going to see this figure on the ground kind of roughing it up with Killian, who's kind of on top of him and kind of pressing him down with his elbow, and Vendela is just sort of arriving, so you're arriving around there also. At 7 will be Killian. Oh, sorry, at 4 it should have been him, sorry, so I'll take his action now, as he has 3 wounds. But he's not knocked out yet.
No.
He will attempt to really just kind of grab you by the throat. So it'll be an opposed roll. Actually, so here's the deal. You have to make a choice now, Killian. You can either do nothing, in which case you'll have your action on your turn, or if you want, you can blow your action now to try and block his attack.
I'll get rid of my action now to try to block his attack.
All right, so you're going to roll your close combat against his, and whoever has the most successes.
Okay, let's see what my close combat is. That's a solid 1, so I still got 6. That's fine, let's go. 1 success.
1 success. All right. He's got 2.
Right.
So your 1 cancels one of his, but he grabs you by the throat. He gives you 1 damage.
That's it.
He gives you 1 damage, and he's squeezing your throat. You're like, and he's very strong. You can feel his fingers sort of digging. And now that you're up close to him, and his hood is kind of falling, you can see he's got like pointed ears, and definitely a sort of unearthly look to him as he squeezes your throat. At 7, you've used your action, so you get to do nothing, unfortunately. At 8, you arrive down the stairs, Elias, and I will say that it's a different zone. So I'll say you get out here, all right?
Okay.
And sort of same thing with Vandella, where you can either do a ranged action, or you can use your action to get into the next zone.
Yeah, so as I get down to the bottom, I grab the rifle as I run past the door. So I still have the pistol out. And when I see what's going on, I'm going to stand there. I'm going to hold the pistol. I'm going to hold my action in case this is not heeded. I'm going to say, stop resisting. We have you. And
Okay.
I'm pointing it at the guy. And I don't want to fire because I might hit Killian because I'm not a very good shot. But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
will if he doesn't stop.
All right. Back up to Vandella. You arrive. You run around the corner. Killian is getting strangled by this thing. Elias is at the other end with his gun going, let him go, you know. Stop struggling.
Boy.
What would you like to do?
Oh boy. Combat is not her skill. She
Vontae, I
is
like the method acting.
That's what I am, man.
As Javante passes out, he's been holding his breath all this time because he was pretending method acting to choke.
Oh god.
is the sniper's sword lying in the snow nearby? Anywhere?
Let's see. It was, I did say that it was kind of in a makeshift strap on his back. So do you have D10s there? Or just roll a D6, it's fine. Roll a D6
Okay.
and call high or low.
High. That's a 6.
All right, so it did in fact come loose during his tumbling, and it's lying nearby.
Okay, Venla is going to grab the sword and hold it to his throat. She's not going to cut. She's just going to say, "Stop choking him."
Awesome. As you are now holding the cursed, shattered sword of the melancholy prince.
What?
Yep.
Oh boy!
So you pick up the sword, and as you pick it up, you feel that it's very powerful, like it's trembling with power. There's a lot of magic in it. It's quite powerful. And you can see like runes that are active, but they're not like Norse runes. They're runes that you find them familiar, but they're not Norse runes, and you don't know what they mean. But you kind of get a feeling maybe you've seen something similar to this at some point in your life. But as you pick it up, and this will be for everyone around you more than for you, you feel that there's something happening. And the lot of you, the second she picks up this sword, all of you, Killian perhaps not as much as you're being choked, but definitely Marguerite and Elias, suddenly you find Vandella very distasteful. Like the fact that she would bend down and take this sword while, you know, Killian is getting injured, and she wasn't really useful in this fight, and she's really not likable. Like you're just like you find her very unlikable. Suddenly you're just like, you know what? I don't know if I really want to associate with this person. You know, like this is maybe once this is over, like you suddenly just find her very unfriendly and unlikable. I'll leave it up to you to roleplay that as you wish. But you do grab the sword and you bring it up to his throat, and when you do, he stops struggling and he lets go of Killian. And he says something in a language that you don't understand. And then in Norwegian, he'll repeat, "Be careful with their lass. That's not something to be trifled with."
Why were you shooting us? At us?
We'll get out of initiative at this point. All right.
Mm-hmm.
As you, Elias, are probably kind of moving in on him with the gun.
Yeah, definitely.
Killian, there's something happening. Like he's let go of you, and you're around, but you can still feel your throat's constricted, and you feel really weird. You literally feel like your skeleton is trying to get out of your skin. Like you're kind of on the ground, and you're just feeling like the worst you've ever been. Like there's just something really strange going on with you. The rest of you don't really notice as he just kind of rolls over. So very quickly, What are you going to do? You're going to talk to him? Elias, what are you doing?
I'm moving closer, and I still standing up. I kind of come up next to the companions here, and I point the gun at him, and I say, "Do not move." And then I glance at what's going on with everybody just to do a quick check, make sure everybody's okay. I lock my gaze with Vendela for a moment, and seeing how she's a bit not as, like you said, not as good to be able to look at, which is a little bit disgusting, you mentioned.
Not disgusting, but it's
well, not
really just like unlikable. You know when you don't
off-putting.
like someone,
Yeah.
like
So-
this person, you just don't like this person, and that's kind of
Yeah.
what you're feeling with her
Yeah,
now.
and with that off-putting, like, kind of tone, Elias thinks to himself, what were you thinking? She's a whole decade younger than you, fool. Kind of just goes back to looking at the guy on the ground.
And you notice that he literally does not look at you at a gun. It's like you don't matter. He's just got his eye focused on the sword and on Vendela. It's kind of like he feels the gun is no danger to him at all. Marguerite, what will you be doing? You come around the corner and you notice this particular scene sort of playing out, and you also have kind of a sudden distaste for Vendela.
She's really been fainting a lot, hasn't she?
Did you? I'm sorry. What did you roll earlier? We didn't come back to it. What did you roll earlier?
I didn't see shit. I saw nothing. I got a bunch of ones and twos.
Okay.
A 5.
So what do you do now?
So I want. Can I, without having the same kind of sixth sense, can I feel that this is like very Vaesen?
Yeah, he's obviously not human.
Okay. Can I kind of try and deduce from what I've seen and what I've been like trying to research and catalog for the
Yeah, you can make a
society?
learning check.
Awesome.
Make yourself a learning check.
Mhm. Okay. That is 1 success.
All right. The closest thing that you've read about or sort of, information you've come across, he does have some characteristics of an elf,
Mhm.
but he's also got non-characteristics of an elf. Like elves don't usually look like cadavers. So he's got like the long thin body, the pointed ears of an elf, but the pale skin, the cadaverous look, the red eyes are not usually traits associated with elvenkind. Okay. All right. So he says that. So you've approached him. We'll go to him, and so he says that to you, like, be careful with that. It's not to be trifled with.
Who the hell are you?
He looks over slowly to you and gives you a little, a crooked little smile. As I'll talk, but you tell her to get this thing out of my face.
I don't tell her to do anything.
Yeah.
As you're holding this sword, Vendela, you get this feeling that you could just will it. And even without hitting him with it, you could just wound him if you wanted. You could just reach through the sword and cause him to get wounded if you wanted. Meanwhile, Killian's on the side, still kind of trolling and sort of shaking, and definitely looking like something's wrong with him.
Ackerman! We need help out here!
Fumble and see if I can find my coin.
You're finding very difficult to move. Like it's kind of like your body's fighting you. Like every time you try to go in direction, the body's kind of trying to go in the other, and it's getting very difficult to do anything.
What did you do to him?
It looks, I didn't do anything to him. He's the one who threw me out that window.
Do not play games with me. What did you do to him? And I gesture with the pistol, like in Killian's direction, to say, look at what's happening to him right now.
As you're checking him out, you notice that there's something strange because he's lying on the ground, and the sun's kind of coming up, and so you can see like a little bit of his shadow splayed out behind him. But as he's sort of shaking and kind of like moving kind of very jerkily, as if he's maybe not completely in control of himself, his shadow moves, and you can see another shadow starting to extricate itself from his shadow. And it's very literally like someone would be sort of, on their knees, kind of trying to pull themselves out of his shadow. And you can see like an arm come out, and then, the rest of a body that's starting to come out of this shadow. What would you like to do? Let's go around and see what you're doing. So we'll start with Vendela. You're holding a sword at this guy's neck, and you notice that he too is looking at Killian now, and he's like, what the fuck,
So I really didn't do that.
So what would Vendela do at this point?
Well, I rolled to see what she would do with the sword, and with a 5, she felt kind of repulsed. She felt that urge to harm come in, and for a moment she was just like, yeah, because he was hurting us. Look what he's doing to Killian. But then she kind of felt disgusted in a way that she was kind of enjoying that ability. So she's going to fling the sword into the snow, and she's going to go to Killian and try to pull him away from this shadow, if at all possible.
Okay. The second she throws the sword, you all kind of, the way you were feeling about her evaporates. You're like, oh, what was I thinking? Like, she's totally different. Yeah, totally.
Still
Like
her? Yeah.
the second she lets go of the sword. All right, so you're going to do that. What's Marguerite going to do?
I think she'll start to panic, remembering the conversation that she's had with Killian recently, and I think in the moments right before, she was just gonna rush up to Vendela, and I think she would know, or Marguerite would know, where she was keeping that ceremonial dagger thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just gonna grab it, but now she'll a little bit nicer try to grab it from Vendela and throw it towards at the shadow, or bring it, just anything. Get this away from me.
Okay, and what's Elias going to do in all this?
Elias, despite his better judgment, he finds his hand is slowly going in underneath his coat, and his hand closes around the handle of his knife. And as he slowly starts to draw it free, there is a shadow of a figure hanging from a noose in the top of the tower where we tackled and interacted with this guy. And he slowly draws it as the rifle falls down to the snow. And his gaze is fixed on the shadow, and his eyes start to glaze over as he stands there with the knife slowly coming down to his side.
And you notice, Elias, that as the shadow of this noose elongates, it comes down and it connects to the shadow that's coming out of Killian as this thing or whatever it is that's kind of stepping out of him. All right, so Marguerite, you approach Vendela and you start pawing around her to try and get the knife. Vendela, do you react to that, or do you let her?
Once I realize what she's doing, she's like, take it, because yeah.
All right, you grab the knife. And what did you want to do with it? You wanted to attack the shadow with it?
Basically, yeah. If it be it through throwing, if it's like a case of the shadow's very long and it's coming out at the end, or just even close, if that's what it has to be.
All right, so you do see the shadow is kind of like on the ground next to you at this point, because it's connecting to this noose that's on her. So you plant that knife in the ground, and when you do that, it emits a bit of a flash, and you see the noose sort of disappears on the floor, on the wall, and you all see the shadow kind of get blasted out, and this other shadow, a little shorter and kind of weirdly angled, is separated from Killian's shadow. Killian, you stop shaking, and you kind of come back in control of yourself. You do, however, get a condition. You get the condition exhausted. as this has taken so much out of you. And as you look, you can see the shadow slowly solidifying and kind of taking form. And in but a moment, there is sitting there this sort of short man in a long tail coat. He's got long floppy ears, a bit of a red beard. He's got a top hat that he kind of pulls out of the shadows and presses down. And Marguerite, you absolutely recognize this personage. And as he, apparently I screwed up and I didn't give the image today, if that's possible, because I'm generally pretty stupid. I totally
It's a great
didn't.
description, though.
Yeah, I'll go get it in a moment. And as you see that the shadows kind of coalesce and form this figure, he looks around a little bit as if he's confused, and he reaches back inside the shadow and he pulls out a banjo. He pulls out a banjo from this the shadow. Goes, I thought I'd lost you. And he pulls that out. And you're standing there looking at this strange feller who is sitting on the ground checking on his banjo and not really looking like he's paying you too much mind. Here, I have him here. I'll
Still standing there looking at it, his eyes completely glazed over like the others have seen back when we were all in the dining room. Elias looks at this figure. Gallow braid.
there you go. You can look at I put the image up. Yes, that's the name. Don't wear it out. Don't wear it out. He's checking his banjo. Well, that was getting cramped in there. You okay, kid? And he gets up and he sort of comes over to Killian. You okay there, kid?
He visibly scoots back.
Yeah, Venla
Hey.
still has her arms around Killian and is dragging him away from this.
It's okay. We're all friends here. We're all friends here, right? At least a
No.
few of us are. So you're gonna kill him? He points at the guy that's on the ground.
Yeah, friend of yours.
Nope. Quite the contrary, in fact. He's the reason that we had to get on that boat together.
So what? This was my end of the deal then?
All right. I can tell you're all on edge. Tell you're all a little bit freaked out. It's okay. It's normal. It happens. I'm used to dealing with this. But he looks at Vendela. We're old friends. All of us. Well, some more than others.
Who are
But
you?
not that guy. You want to finish the job?
He does. Do you leave me alone?
Well, I owe you.
He looks over to him and then reaches into the other pocket that he hasn't pulled something out of and just takes out a broken pocket knife that still has some burn marks on the top of it.
What are you going to do with that? Pare your nails?
He bleeds, right?
Yeah, but you're not going to be able to end him with that. They're kind of tough to kill.
What do you suggest, old friend?
Well, problem with him is that he's just going to keep coming back. You have to drown him.
In this moment, Elias is standing. He's actually standing right next to this guy on the ground, and his knife his Bowie knife that he's had this whole time that he has down at his side, that dried blood that's all along the edge of it is now slowly dripping off. It's wet, and his eyes are completely glazed over. Haven't
Your
we
friend's
done
not
enough?
Well, no. I mean, life would be boring if I stop. But that's neither here nor now. Okay, look, listen. I understand we have some issues. We can work all of this out. I owe you guys. This thing's been after me for a while now, and you got him for me. That's great. I appreciate that very greatly. Now, if we can just get rid of him, maybe I can do something for you. I will owe you, after all. I always pay my debts.
Do we find what this guy is saying to be truthful, or do we find that he's trying to manipulate us? Would there be a roll we could make?
Well, you could do a vigilance. Yeah, you could do a vigilance.
I will say, just Killian is already going to believe what he says because A, he's exhausted, and B, he's kind of known him for a bit.
Might I make the argument that I could have a +1 to my vigilance now that Reginald is beside me, and he
Yes,
is actually
absolutely. For sure.
my protector against things like this?
For sure.
Okay, so that's going to be 2 successes.
All right. You get the sense that he's, he might be playing on words a little bit, but he's not lying to you.
What does it cost us?
Nothing. Just get rid of him. Get rid of him, and we can talk. You have a little problem, a little haunting. Maybe we can fix that. You, kid, we're square. I'm sorry I had to use you as a bit of a vehicle there for a while, but this thing was after me, and I had to get away from it. And the only way you can sort of lose his scent is by getting on water, which is why we got on that boat in the first place. And as for you, Marguerite, pleasure seeing you again.
Galbraith?
Yeah, trying to get away, were you? I'm a man about town. I got contacts everywhere.
He protectively holds the broken pocket knife up.
The guy on the ground says, the guy on the ground says, you could just let me go. Or you give me back my sword and I'll take care of him for you.
Really forcefully, Elias takes the pistol and he chucks it down to the ground, and he slams and grabs a hold of the guy's shirt who's on the ground, and he starts to try to drag him towards the water.
Oh, wait, could someone explain what's going on here?
Old stories, kid. You and I don't have a past, but we could fix that if you want. We could
I'm
have
good,
a future.
thank you. No, I'm good, thank you.
It holds the pocket knife up.
And you're pointing at him. What's Marguerite doing?
Just the pit, the pit of her stomach is roiling. She had always thought that she'd have a script of things that she would say to get through this. And very little is coming to her. She'll very hollowly just kind of shake her head at Vendela if she's like a future together. She's like, don't do it.
Wasn't going to.
Kevin, give me a force check, would you? He's got 3 wounds, so he's pretty weakened.
Okay.
That's what dropping from 3 floors up does to you.
Force and now, do my winter
Force
clothes
and physicality.
do our winter clothes give us a bonus on this? Probably not.
No, it's just for defense.
Okay, I've only got 2 to roll because I don't have any force ranking.
All right, so you roll your physique.
Yep, which is just going to be a 2. And rolling 2 dice, I got 2 successes.
Nice. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
So
it is. Yeah.
you're dragging him like he's really wounded. He's at like at one from being broken basically because of those 3 wounds. So he's like trying to kind of fight you, and you're dragging him, and you're really determined, and you can kind of feel almost like maybe there's like some sort of supernatural but juice kind of behind you as Gallowbraid's kind of chuckling as you watch, and you're dragging him, and you're reaching the pier, and when you get to the pier, you realize that everything is iced up, of course. And he's like, "You don't know what that thing does. You let me go, I'll disappear. You'll never see me again. I'll continue hunting him. I'll get him eventually. You'll be off your case. Don't do this. Don't do this."
Elias is going to stop, and he looks down at this guy he's got a hold of. "We all disappear." And I throw him off the pier onto the ice, and I jump down after him.
All right, what is everybody else doing?
I will shrilly scream because this guy could be the only thing keeping me from getting out of this pact or this contract that I have, and I'm going to take off like a bolt after Elias. Yeah.
Vandala, you're like, what's going on?
Vandala has no idea what's happening right now. She just knows it's bad. She's still got a protective arm around Killian, and she's still like trying to put as much distance between them and the Gallowbraid as she can. God.
Yeah, Gallowbraid's just sitting there, dusting off imaginary lint off his jacket, adjusting his top hat.
Killian, what's going on? What was your deal with this Gallowbraid?
He nods.
Okay.
Gallowbraid was the when my home caught fire, he was the one I made a deal with to be alive.
Okay. That's messed up. What?
I don't know. He's here today. Like that was a pretty good deal as far as I'm concerned. He's, he could be a fried chicken tender right now, but look at him. Hale and
You
hearty.
manipulated a child close to death.
No! He called me. I just, I paid for my services.
You see him kind of shrink in a little bit, and
So it's not just the kids that call on me, and as he looks at Marguerite go, the older ones do too, I'm a pretty popular guy.
Right.
As that's happening, so Elias, you throw him off, and he hits the ice, and the ice cracks underneath him, and when you drop down on top of him, you go through the ice. Marguerite, you arrive at the edge of the pier just as the two of them go through the ice, and you can see them sinking into the water. The guy that you're pushing down is like, his eyes are wide, and he's like trying to fight you and kind of trying to sort of get out of it, and you're going down on it. I'm going to ask you, Kevin, because
Yes.
the water is cold
Yep.
as fucking get out. I'll get out.
Cold as ice. Yep.
That's right. So I'm going to ask you to make a force roll, and I know you don't have a lot of dice for that,
Yep.
but
I sure don't.
yeah. So I'm going to ask you to make me a force roll again as you hit the water, and right away, like we're talking glacial water here, like it is incredibly cold, and as you go through, and it's a lot deeper than you kind of expected, you go through, and the water just absorbs you, and right away you feel your entire body start to just go into shock from the coldness. I will give you an extra dice bonus because of like sort of everything that's going on, the determination and all that. But yeah, roll me that.
All right, so I'm going to roll 3, 2 for my physique only, and then 1 that you just gave me.
Do you have any conditions, by the way?
I do have an angry mental condition, yep.
So then you lose 1 dice.
Okay, so then it doesn't really matter because it was 2 1s and a 4, so
all right.
I'm not going to push it, though.
Okay.
I think as I continue to sink down with this guy, the knife is kind of trailing in the water behind me, and there's blood just sifting through the water and semi-freezing as it gets to the top. Reginald is at the top of the pier, just barking and barking and barking and barking.
Marguerite, you arrive just in time to see the two of them go through the ice. What would you do?
So I'm at a pier. I'm hoping that there is some rope around me because I don't think I would generally carry any rope around, even from the place we were just at?
There totally is. You can totally find a coil of rope that's kind of snowed in a little bit and all that, but you pick it up and it kind of, kind of breaks the ice around it as you're pulling it up.
Yeah.
But you can totally find that.
Yeah, I'll like be pulling it off. I'm in in my own fugue state, but it's a much more anxious activity filled. I'm like ripping at the ice and snow, like my fingernails are just like a little bloody mess. Just trying to get Elias, but also whoever this person is, like he needs to help me. I need help.
All right. So I'm going to ask you to make a force roll. So it's your force
Sure.
plus your physique. And Reginald is helping you. So you can
Oh.
get an extra dice on that for
Perfect.
Reginald helping you. Okay. And you have the rope. So I'll give you an extra dice for the rope also.
He really is our dog. I love it.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
So roll all that and tell me what you get.
I got 1 success. I rolled 3 dice. I think I am going to push it.
All right.
I think I'm going to take frightened again.
Okay.
Nothing. So it's just the 1 success.
You have 1 success. You get to save one of them.
Oh,
And while you think about that,
Okay, thank you.
going back to Vendela and Killian, Gallibray is talking. Is like, yeah, I'm sorry, I just needed to be able to get around, so I hopped into you. We went for a little ride. Worst case scenario, I figured I'd bring you right back to where you were before. It would just, a bit of lost time. Then Brynjar, that freaking weirdo, started showing up, trying to hunt me down. I had to hide longer, and then the only way we could get away from it was to get on water. So that's why I got us on that boat while I thought of what to do next. But then you came back on land, so, he popped up again. But looks like it's going to be taken care of now.
what's your plan when this is over?
Well, my plan is I don't like having debts, and I consider myself in all your debts now since you took care of this problem for me. So I'll repay my debts, and then I'll move on. And who knows, maybe down the line we'll meet each other again. Maybe we won't. You never know what life has in store.
Will you leave Grandma Marguerite alone?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I owe you guys. If that's what she wants, I mean, unless she wants to sweeten the deal a little bit, maybe get a little bit extra. Maybe she got that limp. Maybe she wants that to get fixed. Maybe she wants a few more years of success. You never know. I'll deal with her.
Gallibray, I'm asking you. You say you repay your debts.
Yeah.
That would be my request, for our debts to be square.
But that means that you and I, if you're going to make me deal square with her, that means that you and I, we're not going to be completely done.
I was already aware of that.
He did what you wanted.
See how it goes. Your other friend there, he's in danger. He's got a problem, and there's not much I can do about it because, unfortunately, he's not the one I made the deal with. So you're probably going to want to have to take care of that. But I can help you with that too. I can, give you some guidance if you want. Oh, don't touch that sword.
What is that sword?
It's an ancient artifact that belonged to the elves.
Oh,
You don't want any part of that.
is it cursed?
Yeah.
Oh,
Why do you think no one likes that guy?
because of his poor life decisions?
And that. But you're a special lady. I can tell there's a little something about you that I like. If you were interested in knowing a few things, if you want to ask me a question that I would answer, I would do that for you. Since you played a role here in helping me with these guys, I'll do that. Let's say I'll give you a question and you can ask me a question, I'll answer it, and then we'll be square. How's that sound?
Just a free question. I don't have to do anything for you?
You've already done it. You took care of Brynjar. While you're thinking about that, back on the pier, Marguerite, You reach down. You can't see anything. There's ice. The water's dark. You reach down and you grab a piece of clothing. You're going to pull on it.
Okay.
Whose is it?
You want to hear my thinking, or
Sure.
Marguerite's thinking, or do you
Sure.
want me to just tell you who it is? I can go either way.
Whatever you feel like.
I think she, in a frenzied panic, is only people who have been in these kinds of situations can kind of imagine. The thoughts are going a million miles an hour. Some thoughts that come to the surface are like, Elias is really sad. Like, is this a mercy? Is this what he would want to go out like this? What do I need? I need to fix this thing with Galbraith. I need everything. And then right before she starts to plunge down, she takes a look back and she sees Killian and Vendela and hearing Reginald going off, and she grabs Elias and pulls him right out.
You haul on the jacket, and Reginald's there with you, biting at the jacket, and you kind of got the rope wrapped around his arm, and you pull him out, and he's shivering and completely frozen as you drag him onto the side, and it takes every last ounce of energy that you have. You're also going to get the exhausted condition
Sounds good.
from this as you pull him out and you kind of fall down. And as for you, Elias, you were just in this completely dark, opaque, frozen tomb, basically, like your senses had gone. You were just drifting off. You were almost gone, like you couldn't feel anything anymore. You didn't feel the pain, the cold, or anything. And then suddenly your lungs are burning as your body is just on its own, taking deep breaths, and you're vomiting water and then taking a deep breath and then vomiting water again as you're being pulled. And the cold, the ice that you're on and the water, it's just burning your flesh now. Your entire body is burning as you sense Reginald and Marguerite kind of pulling you. And just as you're kind of starting to black out, you can see the eye-patched face of Dr. Oscar sort of come running over to you and getting down to you and looking very panicked and taking off his jacket and wrapping it around you. And on that, we will take our break.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Woo!
Everybody okay?
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
Everyone okay?
I was very close and moved to tears with Killian, to be completely.
Everyone good?
Beautiful.
Yes.
All right. Hang out with us. We will take a short break to sort of, regain our composures, and we will return momentarily and see where all this leads. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. See you in a bit. That's right. That's a picture of Lake Superior in June. That's what we're using as our background. Because it's cold. It's Minnesota. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We have all imbibed a lot of gin, and so I've been fortified just before we went on break. There was quite a crazy moment where Elias grabbed Brynjar and hauled him into the lake, but then fell into the lake with him and was sinking. And Marguerite, trying to save him, had a choice to make very quickly of trying to save him or Brynjar. And after making us sweat a little bit about the answer, Marguerite eventually pulled Elias out of the lake. In the next few moments, what happened was that, along with Dr. Oscar, he carried you inside the building, and he started wrapping you up and started making a fire to try and warm you. You are currently broken, Elias, physically, so you'll need to rest before you can do anything. You can still talk and so be active, but you're basically shivering and really kind of just drained from the whole event. And as you're trying to sort of pick up, you've all moved inside and are warming up around the fire and trying to helping Elias kind of come back. And Reginald has wrapped itself around you, and he's just kind of giving you some of his warmth there inside your jacket. And Galabrade is saying, well, if you're looking to help him out, and as I was just telling your two friends here while the two of you were out taking a bath, I sort of consider that I owe you. Brynjar, the guy you just so very gallantly drowned for me, has been after me for a while. His boss has been trying to get me killed, I guess, for lack of a better word, for a little bit of a few years now. And this is the closest he's come to it. I'll tell you all about him later if you want to know. Brynjar, the being that you so gallantly drowned for me there. But that's neither here nor now. As I was telling these two, I feel like I owe you, all of you, a debt. And if there's anything that I like to do is to repay my debts, because I really hate to carry those around. They hang around your neck like an albatross, and that's just not for me. And so you and I, and he points to Marguerite, are going to have a chat in a bit, and you still have a question you can ask me, he says to Vandella. And you, he points at Killian, we have an understanding. But the problem with you, sir, and he comes over and he kind of crouches near you, is that unfortunately you and I have never met. You and I have never entered into a compact. So there's very little I can do for you. Except. There's always an except. See, years ago, I met this woman who really wanted, more than anything, for her husband, who was a writer, to become very successful. And in casting about and calling out to whoever would listen for a hand in helping make this a reality, well, as these things happen, we eventually ran into each other. Martha was her name, right?
Marta.
Marta, that's right. And so Marta made a deal with me to help her husband, the writer, achieve success. Now, unfortunately, she regretted her choice before too long, and that's always a problem, because when people regret their choice, sometimes we can bargain things down a little bit. But Marta decided to find her own way out of our deal. And the problem with that, because there are ancient, arcane ways to break a little compact. But the problem with that is that when you do that, you end up getting cursed. And in this particular case, her curse happened to have a bit of an impact on you. That creature that's been following you around, that takes control of you, that gives you all your ideas, allows you to write things that wounds you. That's Marta's restless soul, haunting you like a nightmare. Now, she needs rest, but she can't have it. She can't have it until you give it to her. So while there's nothing I can do for you, it is perhaps possible that one of your friends would know how to deal with a mare. Ain't that right, Marguerite?
A mare.
You have dealt with a mare before. A mare is the spirit of a woman who is cursed to haunt a person that is the object of her affection. When the mare manifests, she rides this object of her affection, taking them over. This would explain the fugue states that Elias has felt. You have faced, Marguerite, a mare before. They are one of the more common types of Vaesen. And lucky for your friend Elias here, you know how to deal with a mare.
Nightmare, right?
Nightmare. That's right.
Yes.
In order to free Elias, you will have to enact a ritual. You must first find consecrated ground. You must wait until Elias falls asleep and the nightmare comes to him. Once the nightmare has slipped inside the building, you have to swiftly block any cracks and any keyholes by which she could escape. Once she is captured, someone with magical ability has to repeat a spell while someone holds up a mirror to the mare so that she recognizes herself as a mare. The incantation must be repeated as some remains of the victim are burned, which could be your only problem right now if you don't have any remains of hers. And someone has to intone the spell. My words heal the land. My song binds the wound. My soul seals the rift. My heart unbreaks the promise. And my tongue calls the light and makes the darkness bright and takes the nightmare's sight and releases me from fright. Once this is done and the remains of the victim, whatever they are, burnt, then the nightmare will be laid to rest. So you need consecrated ground, you need a mirror, you need some remnants of hers.
Will it hurt?
Will it
hurt her?
No, she will find peace.
And Elias will reach up underneath I'm sure his shirt's like open and stuff now because of getting him out of the water. And he has that locket that he interacts with from time to time. He puts his hand on it, and then he will motion maybe for somebody to come help him because he's very weak. He's having a hard time. His hand is shaking really, really bad because of the cold still. There's something in this.
Vendela will go help him with it.
And when you either you take it off or you open it, you'll find that there inside is a single lock of hair. It's very dark, it's curly, and it's wrapped up very tightly within the locket so that it all fits in it when it's closed. And then I will look to you and very, very quietly, only you would be able to hear it because of how close you are to me. It was hers.
Vendela will just kind of study it a moment and then just kind of close the locket back up and just be like, so then we have something, and I think it's best you keep it close until the time is right for the ritual. We don't want to lose it. I'm sorry.
Well, that's one thing done.
Well, I know we have a map of the area. And I'm gonna see if there's a church. I don't remember us going over any places that could be consecrated ground other than maybe.
You do. There is on the map a small chapel, not too
Perfect.
far from here.
To the north, is it?
Just in town. It's just like a couple streets over.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. All they're missing now is a mirror.
It's someone to cast the spell. I don't want. No offense, Galabrade, but I don't really feel
Again,
comfortable with you casting us
Killian slowly
the ritual.
takes the silver hand mirror he had from the ship out of his bag and sets it down.
Excellent.
can-
I'm not going to be casting anything because I'm not walking into that church. I'll wait here.
Mm.
Thank you very much. I'm
I'll
sure y'all
cast it.
can. Oh, look who's got the chutzpah to try that. Huh. I knew there was something special about you. Well, he sits down. You all do what you got to do. I've done as much as I can do to help you. He tips his top hat down over his big bulbous nose and goes, I'm just going to get a bit of rest while you guys get that taken care of. And, if you survive and she doesn't kill all of you, I'll be here waiting to pay up with the rest of my debts. I'll wait till sunup.
Don't fall asleep quite yet. We still have a thing to talk about.
Oh, do we?
Little quick nod.
No time like the present, kid.
I'd rather it just be us.
Don't have to be alone with him, Killian.
He kind of like looks to Vendela and gives a little half smile and it's just a preference. I'll be fine, Ma. You don't need to worry.
Doctor's like, well, give me a hand here. We'll move Elias over and he'll help Elias up. And the lot of you will head on down the street towards the church.
Mm.
And as you're left alone with Galabrade, been a hell of a trip, kid. We've been places and done things. You don't remember most of them, but you had a good time.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
So what can I do you for?
Marguerite still owes you, right?
Well, like I said, I'm very happy to erase her debt, considering, Brynir and all that. Now, maybe she'll want to just make a new contract. Maybe there's other things that she wants. I can control that. But you're thinking you want me to not offer her anything else. Is that what you're saying?
I'm thinking that if she requests anything from you, that I would like to be the one that has the payment on it.
Why would you do that, kid? Why would you do that? Look, you got your whole life ahead of you. She's a crumbly old mummy. She's going to be gone in 2, 3, 4 years tops. I know things. I know things about her. She's gone in a few years, man. Why would you want to stake your entire future
How long has she had that debt with you then? Long enough that she's had to live in fear for this long with how old she is?
Hey, I lived up to my end of the bargain. She became one of the preeminent academics of her time, which, for a woman on top of that, is pretty good.
I'd like for her to not have to look over her shoulder as much.
You know what I like about you, kid? You like to play it like you're so tough. You're so self-reliant. You're also on your own against society, but deep inside, you're all mush and warmth.
I'm not hearing a yes or no on that, Gallowbraid.
You sure you want to hitch your wagon to this horse? Again, because you could walk away free here.
He takes out the coin, flicks it. Here's the deal. You like making those, right?
Mm-hmm.
Flips to the burn side. This side, I take the debt of whatever Marguerite owes you, if she makes anything. This side, I let it be. I get to be free and she makes whatever decision she wants. That sound like fair to you?
Of course.
And he flicks it, holds out his hand, catches, flicks it back into this, and it's the burn side.
You know you cheat, right?
You taught me.
I feel just like a great old pater familias right now.
So it's a deal then?
I like you, kid. Like you got grit, but you also got heart. Yeah, we got a deal. Now go and give him a hand. They're not going to be able to pull this off without you. I'll be here when you're done. Pulls his top hat back down.
Takes a deep breath, straightens his shoulders, and rushes off to run to the others.
You arrive as they are setting up in a small chapel nearby that they found. The chapel is empty. There are some chairs there stacked in a corner. There's thankfully no one frozen to death in here, which is a small blessing considering everything. The place is pretty cold, but you get a fire going pretty quickly enough in the fireplace. Marguerite, as you're sort of preparing for the ritual and sort of going back over everything you remember and know from dealing with mares, one of the tricks that you remember is that a mare can be a very fearsome opponent because they can bestow curses and they can inflict a lot of damage physically. But you remember an old trick that damn it, I wish I remembered his name. Elias,
Lawyer?
Rob's character, the priest.
Oh, the priest.
That was Father
Stanislav.
Father Stanislav.
Yes.
Father Stanislav showed you this trick at some point when dealing with a mare. If you happen to have very specifically a lock of hair of the woman who became the mare, you can place it inside a Bible, and this will confuse the mare, and until she finds it, she will sort of be obsessed with that. So that's a way of keeping her distracted while you're performing a ritual. If you need it, of course, then you need to get the hair out in order to burn it. But if ever you should want, that is something that could be done. And you do find a Bible hidden there behind the sort of desk, the pulpit rather of the priest. There is a Bible there, so that is a trick that you can use to to keep her occupied. So I'm going to say that you're all going to take a bit of a rest, just long enough that you can all heal one condition of your choice. As you get into the warmth here and eat some of your nutritious rations, and the doctor, Oscar, sees to you. And all that's left after a moment is to go around, and so you know, Marguerite, that the mare can turn into a sort of oily smoke and escape through small cracks. So you spend a good portion of the day sort of blocking every possible crack that you find in the church, which it was built fairly well and out of stone, so there's not a lot. You just realize you're going to have to probably shut down the fireplace and close the grate before this starts, and you make sure that the only thing that's left is the front door and the keyhole there. And someone, so during the ritual, once Elias falls asleep and the mayor shows up, during the ritual, someone is going to have to be there to close the door behind her and to patch the holes. You're going to stuff it with whatever you found that you can use to patch the hole under the door and the keyhole. Someone will have to be holding a mirror and confronting her with it. Someone will have to be reciting the ritual. And then if you want to do the Bible hair trick, someone's going to have to be managing that also. So however you want to do it, saying the incantation is going to take 3 rounds. So you have to sort of survive 3 rounds with her. All that is needed, all right, is that every round one of you be doing one of these things. All right, the others can do, as long as one person's doing the ritual, and that can be, all right, this round I'm closing the door and patching it up. All right, next round someone starts the incantation. Next round someone holds up the mirror to her, right? It can be the same person or it can be a different person. It doesn't really matter as far as the rules are concerned, as long as someone is doing it. And then the rest of you just have to try and survive 3 rounds with the mayor in order to succeed in the ritual. You do have the trick of the Bible. So what this will do is that at any point in time, in one of the rounds, one of you can say, do the Bible hair trick. And if you do that, the mayor will lose her action for that round.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So use it judiciously. So as night's starting to fall and sort of settling in, you're all very, very tired because you've been up now for 36 hours. You left at night and then you travel through the night and spend the day doing all this, and now it's into the night again. And the doctor, Oscar, was very loath to let Elias fall asleep too early because of the danger, since he was suffering from hypothermia and all that. So he really wanted to wait and make sure that Elias had kind of warmed up. And what you probably did at some point is you went and someone found, a bathtub in one of the other houses, and you filled it up with some hot water that you boiled, and you got him in it, and then you dried him up again, and then you sat him by the fire and made some warm drinks and all that, so that it takes a few hours, and you're kind of well off into the night by the time that the doctor feels that Elias is probably strong enough to be allowed to sort of fall asleep. Margaret will tell you that once the mayor arrives, she will try to take you over, so it will probably wake you up, and the second you wake up, you could possibly be a danger to others. So like you've been doing for so many years now, you will have them.
I'll approach them. I'll approach Killian specifically, and I'll hand him my 3 different belts that I have. And he'll notice when he takes them that extra one that I had around my waist that I've been tucking things into and was helping holding the knife, it's got holes in it that have been put into it, like self-made, that would make it so that it closes a lot tighter. And I would just kind of gesture to my wrists. I will drag a chair over to the center of the room. Make sure they're good and tight, please.
You got it.
And then as we're finishing, he gets me all strapped down to the chair. I check. With the strength that I do have, I test to make sure I can't just pull out of them, and they're nice and tight. And I'll actually motion for Vendela to approach if she would.
Mhm.
There's a moment, and then Elias looks at you and says, if this doesn't work, she shouldn't suffer anymore anyway. And he'll just look to that big-ass knife that he gave her in the dining room. Are you willing to make a promise to someone who's not a Gallo Braid?
Well, that's already a point in your favor. I don't like it, but I respect your choice, and I will do my best not to fail this very important ritual.
I have faith in you.
It's appreciated.
Ms. Marguerite, don't ever change. Make sure you get those books back to the society.
You'll be the one to hand them over. They're too heavy for me anyway.
Burdens always are.
See you on the other side.
And then he'll look down to Reginald. And Reginald comes up and he actually stands up on the chair and he nuzzles my face for a moment. And Elias just puts his head forehead to forehead. And he says something in German that's very low that nobody else can hear. And it's just a moment that the two of them share, a little private moment. Before he just kind of does a little nudge of his forehead on the dog's forehead, and then he leans back in the chair. And Reginald goes over and stands next to Killian.
The doctor will come over and go, I reckon you're not going to be too comfortable falling asleep like that. So I got a couple tabs there I can give you that are going to precipitate the falling asleep if you want.
You're the doctor.
Yeah, I guess I am. So he'll give you a couple tabs and he's like, here, have a shot of water, and he gives you gin. Brave man. With you also is obviously number one, who's been just sort of laid out on the table there. The doctor will hang out. He says he's not too good in these kinds of business, but if ever you need something, he'll sort of be around to help. Anything else anyone wants to do before you wait for him to fall asleep?
I'll take the hair.
Oh, did anyone take the sword, by the way?
Vendela would have grabbed the sword just because she didn't want to use it. And she probably didn't want to bring it to the ritual because it was cursed. So if there was like a closet to stash it in at the other place, she would have done that. Just deal with that later.
Every time someone picks up the sword, they get the curse stranger.
Oh.
So every time someone picks it up, everybody else feels the curse stranger. Something about the player character makes other people dislike her and want to hurt or drive her away. Each extra success extends the duration of the effect. The creature must have access. Okay, so anyways, but so that way it makes people just like want nothing to do with you. So whenever someone picks it up, that's how everybody else feels about that person. It's pretty powerful, though.
Well, she's so glad she left it in the closet. So.
All right, you set up then. All sort of settle in comfortably, not too comfortably. You don't want to fall asleep. And you wait for the tabs to take effect as Elias sits there. And you're so exhausted, Elias, and being broken and all that, that it takes no time at all for you to fall asleep. And for a while, nothing happens. And all you hear is the wind whistling outside. There's a little bit of the moonlight that's coming in through the stained glass window. And you've lit some of the lamps around the area. You've cut off the fire now. To make sure that there's no exit for the nightmare. At some point, as you're sitting there waiting and it's kind of getting dark and very quiet, which is that whistling of the wind, at some point you see Elias start to sort of struggle against his bonds, and it looks, you're thinking maybe he's coming awake, but it becomes pretty clear that he's just sort of shaking and he's not really coming to. And then he looks up and his eyes open, and you just see the white of his eyes as his eyes are kind of rolled back. And suddenly there's this cold presence that infiltrates the room. You can hear this loud whispering sound that comes in, and you've left the door ajar, the front door ajar, and sliding in through that is this sort of dark, oily mist that sort of just kind of slides and glides down along the floor and over the wall and over the things. And this mist comes and forms up around Elias. And as it takes on a form, it takes on a presence, you see standing there this woman, emaciated, rags hanging over her bony body, long hair that is patchy, all sort of clumped up, just sort of hanging down her face, almost as if it's covered in oil. You can feel the sort of smell of death that's emanating from her mouth and from her pores, and she's just hovering there slightly, like about a foot off the ground, her long, gnarly toes just sort of scraping the floor. Her hands, and now you realize the shadow that you'd seen, two of you, that you'd seen over Elias that first time, with the long gangly arms and the sort of claws that are reaching. You see this taking shape over and behind Elias, and the arms kind of come around Elias almost protectively, but then you can see that the fingers start to scratch and cut Elias along the arms. Reginald is sort of petrified. I need everyone that's there to make a fear check, please. Now, because you are with friends, you get to add 1 dice per person that's there. In your case, there's only 2 other friends, because Elias doesn't count since he's kind of knocked out, and the doctor doesn't see Vaesen, so he doesn't count either. So you get 2 dice, but Reginald will count as an extra dice also. So all 3 of you can roll either your empathy or your logic, whichever you prefer, and you get to add 3 dice. If you still have a condition, it's a -1 dice per condition.
I was wondering.
Yeah, you have a talent, right?
I do have, yes. It has a +1. So do I add a die?
Yeah.
Okay, but I subtract 1 because I only healed 1 of my conditions.
2 conditions, yeah.
As 1 success.
Okay.
1 success.
Okay.
That is 1 success.
All right. That is good enough to withstand the fear in front of the mayor. We will begin by drawing some initiative. Vandala will go at 7. Killian at 8. Marguerite at 9. Wow, you could have sworn I'm going to reshuffle these. That's...
It's the same numbers all the time.
I know.
Yeah.
You guys have the worst
Oh,
luck
dang.
when it comes to these things.
God.
Oh, crap.
All right, starting over. Ha! 10 for Vendel.
Yeah, I'm only doing the ritual.
2 though for Killian. 8. Not much better for Marguerite. 9 for the mayor, and 6 for the doctor, who actually made his fear check, although he can't see what's going on. He just sees you kind of reacting to things, but he's there in case you need him. All right, so at 2 would be Javante. So, would be Killian. What would Killian like to do? So I kind of put you wherever. We'll assume that, like, you can put your tokens wherever you would have been waiting for this to happen. The doctor's kind of crawled there.
Yeah. Bar Reginald's are right there. He's going to also look at the cheat sheet here. He is also going to take a hold of the hand mirror and just kind of start to pull it up protectively, make sure that the silver side is probably the most prominent. As far as what he knows he can do, he's going to look over to Marguerite and just, all right, what do you need me to do then?
We might need you. Well, we will need you to point the mirror at her face and to show herself, and then maybe we'll put the lock of hair in a Bible, and you can run around and avoid her. Play keep away, and then she'll go crazy for a little while. But
Gotcha. I'll play keep away then. And he's gonna.
All right. So yeah. So just to specify, you show her the mirror after the incantation has been done. So you have to do the incantation and you show her the mirror.
Okay.
So the first thing would be barring the door. Then it would be to do the incantation, then to show her the mirror, and then to burn the hair.
Burn. And then anytime we can do the Bible, I guess.
The first thing to do would be to bar the door. I will actually instead change my action from holding up the mirror to book it towards the door.
Okay. So you head up towards the door, no problem. You can move there with one action. You close the door and you start pulling stuff out that you have to stuff the keyhole, to block it and to block the bottom of the door. When you move and you do that, the mayor sort of looks up in your direction and sort of notices you as you're starting to bar her means of escape. And then after that, at 6, it is the good doctor who just basically right now kind of skedaddles out of the way a little bit and goes and hides there because he doesn't know. He's looking everywhere. He's like, is she here? Is she here? I can't see anything. Is she here? And he goes and, and he kind of hunkers down. Just tell me what to do if you need anything. Tell me what to do. And then at 8, it'll be Marguerite.
Okay. So I can't probably do the incantation. That's more Vendela's.
Yeah, you would need, yeah.
Okay. Can I help Killian do this faster by chance? Or
yeah, not a problem.
Sure.
So you can do that with him. Not a problem. You're helping him block that up. At 9, the mayor, seeing you, will move away from Elias and head on over to where you are, just sort of gliding, and like she approaches you and she's immediately in your face, and she will target, I think, coming up on you like this. The last person to move was Marguerite. So Marguerite, make an observation test.
Okay. And I have things, so that's a -1. That is 1 success.
All right. So as she comes up to you and she reaches you, her hands come up to you and she starts inhaling, and you can feel the breath leaving your lungs, and just like almost in a big gulp, as if like something has just squeezed you and like all your air is shooting out. And you notice it just in time with your success, just to kind of sort of clamp down and hold your breath a little bit as you see that she's trying to draw the breath out of you, and like her mouth's like this, and just trying to draw her breath, and you can feel it squeezing. You just sort of shut down right in front, just in time to prevent her from doing that.
Perfect.
At 10, then Vendela.
Great. So Vendela's going to start the incantation, and she will recite the first part of it. My words heal the land, my song binds the wound.
Very good. All right, back up to number 2, which is Killian. You've locked the door. You've stuffed it full of things. The mayor is right there in front of you. You can see that she's doing something to Marguerite. What would you like to do next?
Seeing that is happening, I'm going to do something stupid. I'm going to... I want to know how this works, because I remember that silver is a problem for things, and that's what the mirror is made of. I want him to run and just like swat the mayor in the back of the head with the silver side of the mirror. Pay
Okay.
attention. I'm not
So
trying
go
to
ahead.
break the glass, but just like no.
Go ahead and make a attack roll. So make a close combat.
Would this, because I'm hitting from behind, be a backstab?
Sure.
Yeah, let's go. Listen, all the better for me to roll more dice.
Mhm.
I have not expected a lot of things so far this game. It just keeps getting more unexpected on my end.
That's 2 successes.
2 successes. All right. She is going to fight you with her might. See if she gets more successes than you do. She got 1 success, so you get 1 success out of it. So you manage to come in behind, and like she turns around and kind of tries to bat your hand away. So like she kind of gets your hand a little bit, but you still manage to sort of hit her with it. The fact that it's silver doesn't do much to her, but the fact that you do hit her gives her 1 condition. All right, so she's at condition 1, which you will find out what that does momentarily.
Hey, look
right,
at me. Look at me, all right? Look at me.
she turns around and she is,
All right.
and you can just feel your nightmares sort of like jumbling through your mind, all the vicious nightmares you've ever had, just sort of coming through, and you just realize what Elias has been going through. Must have been such a nightmare to be going through this.
I think when he hits her with that, everybody who might be paying attention will see Elias in the chair kind of like he's semi-reacting to what's going on a little bit.
And you can see that his hand is moving, like he's trying to write or something with his hand, like he's really sort of stuck with that. At 6, there will be the doctor. Doctor's not going to do anything unless you ask him or tell him to do something. So Marguerite at 8. So you're staying there. You've just closed the door. Killian has gone behind the mare and hit her with the mirror, and she's turned around and she's focused on him now. What would you like to do?
So you said this place was made of stone,
Yes,
right?
that's right.
How much is wood? I'm assuming we cleared out the center spot for the.
Yeah.
Okay. I am going to say, "Watch out, Killian!" and I'm going to try and shoot the flare gun and light this mare on fire.
Whoa! All right. You are in melee, and he's close. So if you get no successes, we're going to see if Killian gets a little bit of a
Singed.
Yeah, a little singed there. Go for it. Hey, Insomnia, welcome, man. How you doing? Go ahead and make your roll. So now, you would be rolling your ranged
Nice.
combat, plus your agility, -2 for the flare gun, and minus whatever condition you have.
Let's see.
You do have an advantage. I don't remember if Elias uses advantage, but I don't think anybody else used their advantage. So you do have an advantage still of 2 dice that you can use if you want.
6 -2. I do have. Let me see. I do have something. I think I got it recently. Steady hands. Ignore penalties from conditions while making ranged combat tests.
Awesome. So you don't get the -1 for your condition.
Awesome.
Perfect.
So that's just 4, and then if I am able to use an advantage, that'd be great.
Yeah, go for it. You can use your advantage if you want. That's 2 dice.
So that's going to be 6 altogether, I think. I got 1 success, and I think I'm going to try to push it to, unless.
Ooh, pushing it, eh? Push it real good. All right. She's going to try to.
I'm angry. Okay, so that's a 2nd success, so 2 successes.
The good thing you did that, because she's got 1 success on her dodge, so you actually managed to hit her.
Nice.
Now you're because you're really close, so you just kind of whip around and fire this flare, and the light goes bright. I'm going to ask both you and Killian to make a quick vigilance roll for me here, just to see if you can look away from the brightness of it in time not to be blinded. As you fire this and it hits her, she screams as her rags start catching on fire. Her skin, which is all dried out and kind of like, parchment, it starts to burn. I will give her 3 conditions for that.
And in the chair, Elias is just jerking and moving like he's he's really afflicted by what's going on.
One success, but also noting that it's fire, Killian is just going to try to look away from it as quick as possible.
Okay.
I got one success as well.
All right, one success is good enough as you kind of go like this and fire and kill. You know it's coming, so you're looking away also. As she catches, and the brightness of this flare is just sort of burning and shooting. And even you, Vendela, at the other end of this room, the entire room now is lit by this super stark, bright red light that's just sort of burning on her. Very good. So I give her 3 wounds for that.
Fantastic, Grandma. Now we have a ghost that's on fire.
She, so that was at 8. Excellent. So at 9, now that she's got 4 conditions, she's reached a condition where she becomes fawning and seductive and blows the mare's kiss. And so let's see who she will try to blow the mare's kiss at.
Leave me alone.
Vendela. All right, so from across the room,
No.
you look up, and from across the room, she looks at you kind of pleading, and she looks really kind of sad and pathetic, and like she really needs your help. And she's like, and as she does that, you feel the spell come over you. The mare's kiss, the attack enchants the victim. So she will do her magic roll. You get to resist.
Mm-hmm. What do I roll to resist again?
You roll your logic, I do believe. Hold on, I'm going to go and double check. Let me just double check exactly. Where did I put my... Give me 1 second. Magic, here we go. Rollcraft. You can use your magic if you want.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, since you have magic. So you can use your magic and your logic.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. And you're gonna want to not fail this. I'm just gonna say that.
And can I use one of my items that give me a bonus to magic? Or...
Absolutely, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Sure. I'm gonna use the wild branch. So that'll give me logic and magic. Okay. That is 2 successes.
All right, amazing. So you feel the spell sort of wafts over you. In a moment, you understand it. This is a spell. It's a trollcraft called Passion. The effect would be that it would turn you to try and protect the mare against your friends, but you feel it wash over you and you realize what she's doing, and focusing your own power and your own magic on it, you sort of target it back, and then this thing just washes over you sort of harmlessly, and then you can see that she's like really surprised that this is not working, and she just sort of hisses at you. Excellent. That would have been pretty bad, so that was a pretty good on your part. And go at 10.
Yep, gonna continue with that.
All
So
right.
that wild branch gave me that second success. So, my soul seals the rift, my heart unbreaks the promise.
All right. Elias, as you're in your fugue state and you're writing, you realize you're writing this story about this group of people in the church who are fending off a nightmare. And what I would like you to do for me, Elias, and not just for me, but for your friends, is I would like you to give me a inspiration
Absolutely.
roll.
Absolutely. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 dice I get to roll for that.
Pretty inspiring.
Oh, yeah. That's 4
That's-
successes.
That's pretty solid. All right. So as you're writing the story, you come up with this great idea of how these people sort of managed to resist the mayor. And you got 4 successes. You can give 4 dice to them to use as advantages. All right. You get to decide who gets them because you're writing the story.
Yes. In what the mayor did not realize from the 4 interlopers into her domain of the conflicted writer was that he had taken steps along with his companions to seal her fate. And she'll kind of notice, kind of feel that sword, that broken sword we got from that guy, is tucked in where my Bowie knife used to be. And so she feels some of the connection to me is a little off-putting. She's starting to kind of realize, wait a minute, something's going on here. And she won't know, but we as an audience will see that the Bowie knife is actually attached to Reginald's collar, like it's on his side. And I will there's 4 dice. I'm going to give 1 to Killian, 1 to Marguerite, and 2 to Vendela because she is performing the ritual.
All right. So you all have those extra dice cooking around. Awesome. Good choice. All right. Back up to Killian at 2. This thing looks really enraged now, and it doesn't look like it's at all interested in being nice with you anymore. What would you like to do?
Bible time?
This might be Bible time. It is Bible time. Let's do that.
Stop. Bible time. Oh.
Also, because I need to start running. So yeah.
All right. So I am going to say that the Bible is where it would have been because you would have put it somewhere where anyone could reach it. So it's right there on there. Right. So you can move there if you want and pick it up and do something with it this turn, but you're going to have to run over there to get it.
I will bolt over there to grab it.
All right. So you run off RUNNOFT and get up there, slam the hand down on the Bible, grab the hair, put it in it, I just put my finger right in my glass and now I can't say anything, and slam it. And the second you do that, you can see her like start to look really kind of confused and, sort of looking around and pulling at her hair and like kind of feeling. And then like she starts sort of just moving around kind of randomly. Pretty good. So it's 2, and then at 6, it's the doctor who's waiting to get orders. Marguerite at 8. You can see that she's starting to move around kind of erratically. What would you like to do?
Does she seem to be she probably isn't very intelligent with the way she's going. She's not following any audio cues. Okay. Is there a way that I could try to she's still on fire, I guess. I don't know. I wanted to use it so bad, but I didn't think about how I was going to stop anything else after that point. I would like to I'm going to unsheath my sword stick.
Sword cane, yep.
And I'm going to try and push her around to the side, away from where Killian and Vendela and everyone is, to try and guide her away from them.
Okay, so go ahead and make a close combat.
Close combat. Ooh, this
yeah.
is not my strong suit.
No, it's okay. She's pretty.
I have
pretty
+1.
discombobulated.
I do have 2 conditions, and I only have 2 dice.
You always roll minimum 1 dice.
Minimum 1 dice. That is a 6 I got.
Let's go. Let's go.
Very
Does that
good.
include the 1 die that I give her?
I know. So yeah, you can roll in. That did right. So that inspiration came in.
It was a
clutch
6,
there.
yeah.
All right. So you kind of manage to sort of poke her, and you can kind of guide her. She doesn't seem to really know what she's doing, and you're trying to kind of guide her like out here, kind of thing. Is that what you want to do, like away from them?
Oh, exactly. I didn't realize I was unmuted, but yes.
All right, excellent. At 9, it's her, and normally at this point she would have turned into gas and rendered herself immune. But because she is distracted by the hair being in the Bible, she keeps coming around. She will take 2 more wounds, I will say, from the fire, which will put her at. She's still kicking. 2 more wounds puts her at unyielding rage. There we go. All right. So, you. That's a 9, at 10, Vendela. So she's moving around kind of erratically. She's still on fire.
Right. Vendela is going to finish it, and she says with some sympathy in her voice, just, and my tongue calls the light, and makes the darkness bright, and takes the nightmare sight, and releases me from fright.
And as that happens, you see Elias slump totally in his chair, like completely out again, as the nightmare sort of rears back and focuses on you and sees you now as you finish this spell. And we will go back, but now she's focused on you, and she's clearly coming right at you. We will go to Killian. What are you doing, Killian?
I am hearing that the chant is happening. I'm gonna tuck the Bible with the hair into one hand and then grab the mirror again and hold it up.
All right, you're gonna have to get in her face.
Yep, and this is why I have a Bible, and I'm gonna just football charge run.
All right, and you kind of reach up in front of her and put the thing in front of her face. All right, do me an agility, please.
Got it.
Do a agility and agility and physique roll, just to sort of see if you can, like, kind of get in front of her and avoid her attacks or thing.
That's 6. One success.
Good enough. So you put it right in front of her, and she looks in the mirror and she sees herself, and you see realization dawning on her face. And for a moment, her face looks like it's become almost normal again. And you can see, Elias, would you describe what your wife looked like for us, as he sees in the mirror the reflection of your wife as she used to be?
Definitely. She is a woman who is got very fine features. She has long, dark, curly hair, and she has a glazed look to her eyes because she's actually blind. So her eyes don't seem to really focus on anything. But she just has just a natural beauty. She doesn't have makeup or anything on. She's not dolled up. She just has a natural beauty to her, and she just looks around for a minute.
And she sees that, and she sees her reflection. You can see the recognition in her eyes, and she's starting to realize sort of what's been going on and what she's been doing. So that's pretty excellent. That's a 2. Then going to 8 for Marguerite.
Okay, well, so Killian is right here. I will step beside him. I'll put my hands out for the book. I'll pick out the hair, and I'll put it in with her on fire.
On the fire ice, you
And
open the.
Yeah.
Describe
I
it for us, please.
apologize as I do it. Yeah, so I grab the Bible. I flip to the page, grab the hair. I say, I'm so sorry, Marta, and then I'll plunge my entire fist into the fire and release the hair in it, so I don't miss.
All right, you push your fist in there. You draw the flames. You can see it like just catch on fire like tinder, just like this. The mare releases this incredibly strident cry. The mirror shatters in your hand and just falls apart in pieces as she reaches up, and you can see all that oily darkness that was around her starts to envelop her. And in the last few moments before, and she's kind of like she's disappearing in this tornado, and in the last few moments you can see her face looks like she was in the mirror. She has returned to her looks of, and although her eyes now are blank and glazed over because she is blind, you can see that she's very clearly looking in the direction of Elias, and you can see on her face a look both of tenderness and of love, and a look of she's obviously incredibly sad for everything she's put him through, and she's asking for, you can tell that she's sort of asking for his forgiveness, and then just like that, the last few little bits of smoke sort of hang in the air and sort of fall down. The room gets a little warmer and a little brighter. Elias is stirring in his sleep and starts coming to.
gonna with my not burned hand, I'm gonna caress Killian's face like you're a good boy, and I'm very sorry about the fire. I wasn't thinking.
No,
But
it's totally fine. It worked, right? As long as things work, it doesn't matter.
Reginald's up at Elias and he's like licking your face, and he's up on you and he's sort of licking and trying to wake you up like that.
Marguerite, is it safe to untie him now?
it is. Yeah.
Okay.
She's gone.
As they're untying you, you feel an incredible burden lifted off your shoulder and your soul, Elias, and you really feel like this shadow that had been clinging to you and kind of following you around is lifted. But you kind of sense that there's one more thing that needs to be done. You kind of sense that Marta's spirit is kind of hanging about, and she needs to hear you forgive her for what she put you through and what she's done. And you can tell that that's the last thing that's kind of keeping her tied to you here and to your own shadow.
Mhm. So as they finish unbelting me to the chair and I'm fully awake, I stand up and I take a step or two, and then I collapse down to one knee in the center of the church of the temple. And Reginald comes over and he sits down next to me, and he looks like up in the same direction I'm looking. So it looks like he's looking at something. And I think what just Reginald and I will see in this moment is Marta's spirit steps forward, and she looks tentative for a moment. But then Elias slowly looks up and he locks his gaze with hers. And he says, "It's all right. I know you didn't mean any harm. I I know that you are okay now. And I am sorry." And he actually puts a hand up, and as he puts his hand up, his shirt kind of falls away. There's all the cuts all over his arms and everything from all the times that wounds have been inflicted. And he just looks at his wife, and "I love you, and I forgive you." And I feel like her spirit slowly leans forward, and right as their lips are about to touch, she just drifts away. And Reginald just lets out a and leans up against Elias for a moment. And there's a long pause as the two of them just sit there, both their heads hung low. He has his arm around the dog. And then he slowly looks up at everybody. "Thank you, everyone. Thank you." And he just sits in silence for a moment.
Dr. Oscar says, "At this rate, I'm going to run out of gin."
There's a noted pause from Killian as he looks to Elias. Is he unbuckled by this point?
Yeah.
Killian just walks up, gives Reginald a pat, and then just hugs Elias.
And Elias will finally come up, and he gives him, it's a full on embrace, the two of them.
No more dumb things like that again, all right?
"I don't think I'll need to now. Thanks to you." And then he'll look up, and his eyes sweep across the room. He looks at Marguerite, and then he looks at Vendela, and he goes, "Thank you all." And he just takes the moment, embracing Killian.
And a little while later, as you've sort of all imbibed the last of the gin, and the doctor has said that he's going to stay here with number one to keep an eye on him. This is a better shelter than any of the other places you've seen. You'll head out again to cross the street to go and have your final discussion with Galbraith. Kevin, I will give you the option if you want. Up to you. You can either keep automatic writing or you can replace it by something else.
Oh, interesting.
So think about that for next game. You can
Okay.
You know, it's possible your automatic writing's gone now that you're not on it, but it's also possible that it was with you all along. So I'll let you decide what you want to do with that, and if you want to change it for something else, something that would sort of be applicable to kind of things that have gone on. You can think about that and do that. You will cross the road to the sound of a banjo being plucked, a very sort of sad and forlorn tune that's been plucked away at this. And when you enter the bottom of the tower where you had left Galabraid, you find him sitting on one of the steps and just sort of whistling along as he's playing this little dirge. And as you walk in, he looks up and goes, "I gather it went well then. Well, I'm all for happy endings." Take his banjo and sort of put it on a sling across his back. "Shall we finish our deals then, that I may move on and that you may continue doing whatever it is you're doing on this godforsaken island?"
If I may be so bold, Gallifrey, no. If I may be so bold,
When are you not?
Maybe perhaps you could simply leave without any deals. If you haven't noticed, my friends and I become very versed in killing Vaesen.
Mm-hmm. And that is a very frightening thing. If only I was a Vaesen. I'm very happy to leave. I believe that my dealings with you, for what they were, are at an end. And Marguerite, I've given it some thought, and I think that the service you rendered me today in helping dispose of Brynjar has bought you release from your contract. And as he says that, you feel a little wet in the pocket there where your little square is, and when you check it out, it's turned to blood, but it's gone. It's completely turned to blood, and it's just sort of wet your jacket now, and it's dripping down your side, but the square itself is gone. Should you ever desire to call on my services again, and then he sort of pauses and looks over at Killian, says, "Well, I'm afraid I won't be answering that call, so you'll have to find yourself other avenues. But you've done well for yourself so far. I'm sure you'll continue to do so. And as for you, Killian, my friend, well, que sera, sera, as the French like to say." Then looks over at Vendela and goes, "You, my dear, I owe you. Have you thought of a question to ask?"
Yes, though I'm not sure if you'd have the answer.
Don't try me.
Where did my mother go?
How about I just show you? And in your mind, you get a clear image of where your mother has gone. And something we'll address some other time. But you get a clear image of where she has gone. And he'll say, hopefully that satisfies you. If you can't find that on your own, well, then there's really not much I can do for you.
That's fair. I think our business is done.
Very well. Getting kind of chilly here. I'm sure you have more work to do, but unless there's anything else I can do for you.
No.
Very well. I do like happy endings. Well, fixes his top hat. I've never been one for goodbyes, so he'll turn on himself and walk out the door.
Galabraid,
I'll stop. Yes.
I'm glad we could come to an accord.
So am I. Good luck with your future writing career.
I take the Bowie knife off of Reginald, and everyone notices that as I put it away in its sheath, it is clean.
Love is like a fruit rotting on the vine, as he walks away into the storm, and you are left, the four of you, and Reginald, who goes
Good boy.
at the door, then curls up at your feet.
What time of day is it? At this point, it's night.
It is, yeah, it's like coming on morning again. You are all completely destroyed. You're absolutely going to have to get some rest before you move on. But the only remaining clue that you have was the map on the inside of the office, which indicated a spot somewhere in the forest where the three crazy wood ladies were supposed to be found. But it'll be a bit of a trek, so you'll definitely want to get some rest before you head out there. The church is probably as good a place as any. Get a good fire going in there. You can probably get a good night's rest, eat some more of your rations, and with the doctor's ministrations, probably by tomorrow afternoon, be ready to go on into the forest and seek the rest of this. Is there any last thing you would like to do before you turn in and go and get some rest?
I think Elias will just look to the map, and then he'll actually look up towards that direction of where we need to go, and he'll just think about how things will be different now. And when he goes over and he finds a bed in this area that we're in, he lays down and he finds that he, for the first time in years, finds sleep coming easy to him.
When you looked up into the sky, you saw the Aurora Borealis just shining green and purple up in the sky, and it was quite a beautiful sight, and it certainly brought you a sense of peace as you looked upon it. Anybody else for anything?
Vendela will just check on Killian and just say, if a Vaesen or the Gallowbraid or any other creature comes trying to make a deal with you or tries to communicate you, just let one of us know, okay?
Right. I'll do that.
Okay. You don't have to deal with that alone.
I think that'll take some getting used to.
I can understand that. You did good today. You were very brave.
You did good too. I mean, I wouldn't have picked up the sword personally, but
And it was choking you. I wasn't really thinking, but it was there. Yeah, I
Question
think
is, will she pick it again?
it's kind of wanting to chuck that into the ocean, so I don't really
See-
want to touch it to do so.
he pulls out his coin, and as he holds it, he does the flick into the air. And as he catches it, he points to you and to your left hand. Holds up both of his, and the coin is in his hand. Don't really thinking I need that good luck charm anymore. He just thumps his head back onto his little pack. Just.
And what about Marguerite? Let's go through Marguerite's mind now.
I think, well, it's been a very, very long day, very long night. I think she probably has a couple drinks with a couple swigs with the doctor before
Said, I
herself.
lied earlier about running out of gin. I have a spare.
He's always got spare gin for you, Marguerite.
And I think, we're probably all, I imagine, ending up in a big dog pile kind of thing at some point, but you know, she spends some time. She needs some time to herself because she spent decades having this hanging over her head, and you know, while Elias had the nightmare and everything, and in Killian's very short life, having to gallow braid as a passenger, but having it hanging over for decades, and the memories of everything she needs time to process, and just spends some time before eventually passing out, staring at her coat with the blood stain, and yeah.
And on that note, less of a cliffhanger than the other time, but satisfying little wrap up. Nonetheless, we will end here for tonight as you get a rest and prepare yourselves for the final trek into the forest to the lodge next week to try and put an end to this ice that is keeping everything in stasis. Thank you so much. Excellent game, excellent role playing. You were all so brilliant. It was absolutely beautiful game. Super enjoyed it. One of my favorite games that I've ever run. I would like you to take this moment to tell again our audience who you are, what you're doing, where people can find you, and we will start once again with Stephanie Vandella, the woman with the broken sword.
Yeah, that's not going great for her, huh? I'm Stephanie. I play Vendela, still a cultist in training, collecting very poor swords, apparently. So you can find me on my Twitter at sbrownwrites, or on Discord on the Superior Guild, or Live from the Apocalypse channel, Guild Superior, or the Live from the Apocalypse channel under Lavenza. And thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Very well done. Great game again. Thank you so much for being here and doing this with us. We will go to Javante next. What's up, my friend?
Hey everyone, it's Javante, who plays Killian, the no longer possessed living tour bus for Gallow Braid. Where can you find me now? Let's see. You can find me here again next week, and you can find me the week after. Hold on. Looking at my... No, you can find me next week, next Monday, on Initiative Order, playing Dior the Black Ranger for our Power Rangers Arcanites game. Outside of that, you can check out my Twitter for other stuff that I'm talking about. The entire month of February, I'm going to be listing African American and African history and fun facts and trivia for Black History Month. Other than that, yeah, just keep an eye on my Twitter for other things that I am doing. I'm for once not busy, so
enjoy it while it lasts.
Yes.
It's not going to last very long. You know it. Thank you so much for being here, Javante. Kay, please tell us a little bit about yourself and your panoply of cats there.
Oh, thank you. So my name is Kay, or Caden Cosmos. That's where you can find me on most things. I played... I almost said I play Vendela today, and I was like, that's very wrong. I played Marguerite Hansen today, who no longer has a decades-old contract with a thing. I had a great time playing tonight. You all were so great. And you can catch me here next week, of course. I'm also going to be doing Mondays all Friday here at the Superior Adventurers Guild as well. And I run free online trivia at Slyfox Trivia, if you want to check that out. But yeah, thank you for everything. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to see how this all wraps up. But this was a very satisfying episode for me.
Cool. I'm so glad. Thank you so much for playing with us, Kay. And finally, Kevin, the man who is finally untied from his chair.
That is it. Yes, I am Kevin. I found online at Kevran Games, and I played Elias Johansson and his faithful pet Reginald. No longer haunted or conflicted, this writer is ready to tell some more stories. When I'm not here, I can be found on my podcast, which is Game Night Heroes. And please, if you are interested, come join us next week on Friday at the RPG Academy's Twitch site, where we will turn some tables, and Bleakseason will be playing in my game as we play La Notte Eterna, which is a cool 5th edition, the world shrouded in darkness type game. It'll be a 3-shot, and it's going to be awesome. So this was a blast. Thank you guys for letting me continue to play. Beautiful moments tonight. I'm in awe of you all, so thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I look forward to that game, Kevin. It's going to be a lot of fun. You know me and Grimdark. It's my brand.
Oh, yes.
Otherwise, we've got tons of stuff coming up here, as always, at Guild Superior. Tomorrow, we have a brand new Monday Night Mayhem starting a 4-part World of Ystera by our very own Miko, the OK is GM. Running is Homebrew World of Ystera. On Tuesday, we have DM Dave's ongoing classic Greyhawk series as we're trying to survive the Moat House, clearing that place of all the rubbish and all the brigands that are in there and the ogres, and having a great time doing so. Next Thursday, some more Shadesong right here, the 5th part of a 5-parter of Winter Thrice. So there'll be one saga that is ending on next Thursday. And finally, on next Sunday, we'll be back here for the last episode of Vaesen Isa. I have been the Bleakseason. I'm at the Bleakseason on Twitter and everywhere else. For Dave, our producer here, DM Dave, for everybody else here at the Guild, thank you so much for watching. We are going to raid some good friends of ours, Lords and Ladies of Fate, playing some Dungeons and Dragons. Please hang out. Give them some good old-fashioned Guild Superior love. We thank you so much for hanging out with us and watching this, and we will see you at our next game. Thank you so much. Have a good evening. Ciao.